Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you this fine Tuesday evening?
Good. I'm doing really well today.
Okay. Why is that, Grumpy?
Well, I don't know. We're doing on my day off. We're doing an emergency podcast today, but it's for good reason. I have to think there's nothing negative to come out of today's podcast. Not one thing.
Absolutely. For those of you who are new to the show, welcome. This is usually a twice a week Islanders podcast. It happens every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who are new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter so you don't miss out on any of the action. And if you like this content, the best way to let us know is by leaving a thumbs up. Apparently, it helps the algorithm. And one more general housekeeping item. Again, if you like the content, you also may want to check out something called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's a all sports podcast we have that takes place Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find it in the link below, or you can find it here as a featured page on our YouTube channel called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. We talk all things sports. So NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, college football, European football, anything and everything sports we talk about on that show. It's kind of just more free-wielding and all over the place. So not as structured. It's a little more fun, I think, at times. So just a little shameless plug there as well to begin. Today, Grumpy, you're right. We've got an emergency podcast. In the past, when we've done these emergency podcasts, usually they've been for some have been okay reasons, and some have been not so great reasons.
I cannot remember a positive reaction to a move
when Barry Trotz was fired. That was, I think, relatively positive on the podcast. But today, Mat Barzal signs long-term with the New York Islanders, an 8-year contract, Grumpy Old Man. Fantastic. I mean, you talk about fantastic news. This was something that you were actually most worried about, Grumpy.
That's right.
Were most worried. What was your preseason? What was your worry about this season? We were going to be so poor that, hey, we're not going to be able to get a long-term deal signed with Mat Barzal. He's going to want to leave. And in a situation where he signs before the season starts, another one of these restricted free agents that Lou Lamoriello has been able to ink to a long-term contract before the season starts with terms still left on their deal.
Yeah. I can't think there's nothing negative with this contract signing. Absolutely nothing. You're right. I was concerned about that as late as Saturday night. But, I mean, really, this is a bargain signing. Um, and it also sets the salary structure for everybody else who comes in the team, which I don't necessarily think is a good thing. How are you going to be able to attract big name free agents if you're going to say to them, well, our marquee player is only making 9 point, blah, blah, blah a season.
It's not 9 point. The average AAV is 9.125. So about 9.1, or I'm sorry, 9.15. So million AAV a year.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is, let's say there's an unrestricted free agent out there and they want $12 million a year. I don't think the Islanders will even be in the running to sign them.
Okay, I don't know why you're already taking it there. Let's talk about the fucking contract signing instead of you trying to turn that into how it's a negative, Grandpa. Let's talk about the positive. Typical grumpy old man. How can I spin this into something that's not positive for the Islanders? Sticking to character.
Okay. See, here's the thing. I'm not like you, who's just looking at my feet all the time. I'm looking down the trackaways. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, Grump, here's the thing. I think you can easily pay somebody more money than Mat Barzal. I don't think Mat Barzal is the best player on our team by a country mile, I believe, but he signed this contract, and I'm shocked he signed as early as he did, right? The projection is the cap's going to increase by 10 million over the next 4 years. So the fact that we were able to wrap this up early to get him to sign and commit before the season even began is fantastic because, right, we could all say he's had 2 pretty underwhelming seasons in a row, at least offensively, under that Barry Trotz system, and we've been able to lock him up long-term to an 8-year deal. Again, the AAV 1.9.15 million a year.
Yeah, like I said, that's a sweetheart deal. 8 years. He's still going to get another bite at the apple at a relatively young age, right? He'll be, 33 when he gets another bite at the apple. I think he'll be a player who ages well. So he's probably going to take a little bit of a pay cut, but he's going to get another bite at the apple. But it shows how much he wanted to be here, right? Think about the difference between Mat Barzal and how he handled the contract negotiations and John Tavares. This is honestly, this is what we've been saying. He had to be re-signed before. You don't want to go into the last year where he's like, oh, okay, I'll sign my 1-year tender and then we'll, kick the can down the road again. And kudos to Lou Lamoriello for getting this deal done now and not waiting like he's want to do. Wait before he does anything. This time he was proactive. He signed Mat Barzal to, I consider it a sweetheart deal, honestly. Yes, Mat Barzal has not had great years the last 2 years offensively. I think that's a talent situation around him as well as the Barry Trotz system. But this is a great deal for Islander Nation today, for Islander country.
Islander. What is it? Bronco Nation, let's ride. Islander Nation, let's ride, as Russell Wilson said.
Don't say that. It's so
You
stupid.
don't like that, Grumpy?
It's so
Nation,
stupid.
let's ride.
Stupid. It's so stupid.
Oh, you love it, Grumpy. You love it.
No, I don't. It's stupid.
I think it's great. It is great news for the Islanders. It's great news for the organization. It's great news for the fans. I mean, that was one of the issues that you, again, as you mentioned earlier, you were most worried about, Mat Barzal being able to keep him. Now, I think that it's a good signing. It's a team-friendly deal. Some people, Grumpy, think that he's being overpaid. Right? We haven't seen production from him out of the last 2 seasons. I've seen some takes to where people have argued Mat Barzal is being overpaid. What do you have to say to that, Grump?
I don't see that. You're paying based on potential. This is the way teams do it nowadays. They sign their guys at younger ages before they hit unrestricted free agency. They get them through the prime of their careers. Let's say Mat Barzal blows up and has a great year this year.
Yep.
Doubtful, but let's say he does. I'm just saying, guess with the guys playing on his line. He's a supremely talented player. Everyone in the league knows it. I was all for this. There's no negatives for me. I mean, what did you think he was going to do? Take a pay cut from $7 million a year? Did you think he wasn't going to get this on the open market in a year and a half? He would have got more than this in a year and a half or 2 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, he still would have had not this year, but next year. After so it would have been two seasons away. He would have been an unrestricted free agent, and we could have possibly lost him. But like when we look,
And
at
here's the thing. Here's the thing. The money that you're paying now would have been greater 2 years from now, with the salary cap taking a big jump like that.
yes,
I mean, it's going to go up $10 million within the next 3 years. Hey, this is going to be a bargain contract after that. One thing I can say, TJ, regardless of what you think, Noah Dobson is not getting $10 million a year.
Noah Dobson getting $10 million a year.
He will not get 10 million. Not on this team.
He's getting $10 million a year.
No,
I'm letting you know that. Anyway, so we can argue that another day because I still stand by that. I still think that's more than adequate for his play to demand something like that for a young defenseman who puts up points. I mean, hell, he put up 50 some odd points when their leading scorer put up 59 points. Yeah, okay, I still stand that. I think that Noah Dobson is still going to get himself a $10 million a year contract. I wanted to talk about a few things. This is another situation to where Lou Lamoriello, at least in recent years, has signed a restricted free agent to a long-term deal proactively. You have been very critical of Lou Lamoriello for not signing restricted free agents and not signing our own guys back, the younger guys, to long-term contracts. You've been critical of that, Grumpy.
yes,
I've been somewhat critical of that. Now, I would say the trend is that he is actually more proactive than reactive on that front, because think about it. Pelech and Pulak, the year before, they signed them to very team-friendly deals, I would argue, through the prime of their careers. And now you've got Mat Barzal signed to, I would argue, a very team-friendly deal through the prime of his career. That's that's the third guy in 2 summers that have been signed on these very team-friendly deals that are really, I would argue, probably very valuable to core pieces of the team's success.
I was wondering if this was Lou Lamoriello or if it was an edict from ownership saying, you got to get this thing done.
I don't know. Lou said he's wanted to get it done. Mat Barzal said, hey, we respect him very much, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. We'll talk about the comments from Mat Barzal today, too. We'll break that down that he had on it. But, it's a great situation. It's a great day for Islander fans. I think it's a great day for Mat Barzal. It's a great day for our future. And that kind of moved me into a little bit about what I was thinking next. Grump, this is a situation where we've now signed him long-term. That was a huge part. We have done this offseason. We've added 22-year-old defenseman, young defenseman, who's more of a defensive defenseman. We've got him. We've got team control over him. Gave up the 13th overall pick. Okay. We've signed the most important, valuable forward of our group to a long-term deal. So you could say, hey, if we do have to go on a rebuild, we don't have to worry about losing that important piece. We have him locked up long term.
Yeah. Now you just wonder, gosh, if they just could have put Johnny Gaudreau in here. Ooh, have both those guys locked up long term like that. Man, that would have been something to put a little froth on your Frappuccino. What do you think?
Froth on your Frappuccino. Jesus Christ. I don't even want, that just sounds disgusting. Froth on your Frappuccino, but fair enough, Grumpy. Sure, it put some froth on my Frappuccino thinking about it.
Tell me you wouldn't have loved that. Tell you wouldn't have loved those two guys locked up for, 7-8 years. I mean,
I would have, but just to think about it, right? To put this in perspective, people are going to say, oh, okay, they're going to look at what players have signed for around Mat Barzal, or who got around $9 million a year contracts. Some contracts are better than others, but people will say, right, okay, if you look at it, Nazem Kadri, I thought the contract was shitty, but Nazem Kadri signed to a very similar deal as Mat Barzal, right? One less year, a little less money. I mean, he's got about $150K less than average AAV a year. But I would argue Mat Barzal is much more valuable and much more talented than Nazem Kadri over his 1 year explosion. You could say, right, Johnny Gaudreau, he took less, but he went out there on a free agent market. And what did he get? Like 9 and change?
I think 9 million.
No, he got more than that.
Gaudreau?
Yes.
I think he only made $9 million a year for Columbus. I mean, I do have one quick question. 9.75.
So we got about roughly $600K more AAV a year there, Johnny
Well,
Gaudreau. And Johnny Gaudreau's had a much better track record than Mat Barzal. A little bit of an older player. He signed the deal when he's 29. So, maybe they're looking, saying, hey, maybe he'll start to wear down towards the end. But the Johnny Gaudreau deal looks like, hey, if you're rating deals, that deal looks like a sweetheart deal that the Columbus Blue Jackets were able to sign Johnny Gaudreau to.
And I would say the Gaudreau is worth more, particularly right now, than Mat Barzal. But like I said, Barzal's only 25 years old, and Johnny, I think he's 28.
29.
Okay.
He'll be 20. He'll be 28. 20. Oh, no, he's just 29. 29. Just turned it.
Okay. So, Mat Barzal's, years younger. But, boy, I would love to see them both on the team on long-term deals.
I'm just more talking about the value of the deal. The value of the deal that Mat Barzal got, right? Because that's just going to be it's going to be critically analyzed. Hey, did Mat Barzal get paid too much? Did he get, did we get a team friendly deal? Did he get? Some people are going to say he got overpaid. I just don't see it. I seriously think the potential that this young man has will be worth the contract that he was paid.
Well, I think the only way you'll be able to tell if he was overpaid is to see how many years, what kind of money he's making as the years go on. I mean, it's not necessarily, this year or next year. What about 2-3 years from now? If he's a consistent point per game scorer, and you're going to see salaries go through the roof now in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You're going to see the Nathan McKinnon deal. That's 12.5 per. I mean, the big names are going to get that kind of money. He got what? 75% of that deal. Mat Barzal got 75% of that money. I mean, that's a good deal for the Islanders. I'm sorry. I don't think there's any way you can put it down. No way. No way. And he puts fannies in the seats, which is really important to management.
Yeah. Grumpy, can you flip that microphone on it? It's rubbing up against your chest. No. Flip the collar there. You got to flip that collar. Thank you. And so we can hear you perfectly.
Pain in the ass. You're just a pain in my ass.
I just don't like hearing you ruffle over your chest hairs, Grumpy. Perfect. That's perfect, my friend. But it's a situation that I look at it like this. We've done a few things this offseason that haven't set the team back per se regarding our future. We've talked about how in off seasons and at the last few trade deadlines, not last year's deadline, but the last few trade deadlines, we've done a lot to go ahead and mortgage off our future for the current. And this has been a time period where I could say, no, I don't think that's the case. I think that we got Romanoff, a young defenseman, 22 years old. We were able to sign Mat Barzal to a long-term contract. We've still kept the future of the team at the forefront of all the decisions that have been made. And that has not been Lou's MO since joining the Islanders.
True.
So let me ask you this. Does that change your opinion on what the offseason is rated? Because it does for me. I don't know about you. It does for me, right? Did we do a lot to address the immediate need to improve the team? No. But hey, we've still kept the core pieces here together. We didn't have to lose anybody on that side. And we've also put a forefront and focus on making sure that the star players and the cornerstone players are kept long term. I think, right? You have always been under the want and the idea that, hey, we needed to restructure the team. We need to blow it up. With signing Mat Barzal long term and having Romanoff under team control, we have the ability to do that without really being affected if we come out and don't play perfect hockey to start the year.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing. They should have been doing this. I would have liked it if they would have signed Dobson. Are you going to try to tell me that if you would have offered Noah Dobson an 8-year extension at $6 million per, he wouldn't have jumped at that?
Well, let's talk about the question I had at hand, though, because I think that's a totally different conversation. Okay. I mean, and again, because I know I was long-winded, do you think this changes your viewpoint on the offseason?
No.
Really? No,
it does not improve the team this year. It does not.
Well, hold on. Your offseason was all predicated on we need to make sure you were on board with blowing the freaking team up, blowing the team, sending it to the freaking sun, blowing the team up, and making sure we keep only the young core pieces. Yep. With what we've done, we still have the ability to do that.
But we haven't done it.
So if we come out, let's say we come out and struggle. We're not in a playoff picture. We're not in a playoff spot. We've got Mat Barzal signed long term. We've got the important pieces signed long term, the
True.
cornerstone pieces signed long term. We can start trading off some of the flotsam and acquiring draft picks if we don't come out and play good. And if we come out and play hard, we're in a playoff spot. We also have the ability to double down and to add pieces. It's the best of both worlds. We can play either situation now, and I think it leaves us with flexibility. It changes my outlook on how the offseason went with one move.
This contract doesn't even come into effect until next year. So it has no bearing on this year. Yes, I'm ecstatic that they re-signed it.
It's for the future. You have always talked about how the future has been in jeopardy based off of the moves that Lou Lamoriello has made. This has helped secure and solidify that future. Would you not say so?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know that.
How not? What are you concerned about now?
Because I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to just keep doubling down on the older guys? Just because he signed Barzal back doesn't mean anything. Is he going to double down on the old guys, or is he going to, start moving some of them out? I think he should start moving some guys out. Just even if it's just Varlamov and Mayfield and maybe Pajot.
Your worry.
I just don't think that this move has any bearing on this year's team or next year's. Going past that, yes.
Your worry, you said just this Saturday, your biggest worry for this season was we're going to struggle so much that Mat Barzal's not going to want to stay here and he's going to want to go somewhere else. We went ahead and solved your biggest worry like that on Tuesday. Sign long-term. That worry no longer exists.
Yes.
So that does not change your viewpoint of they got rid of your biggest worry. Whoosh, took the eraser and knocked that shit off the board, Grumpy. That does not change your opinion on the offseason.
No.
How?
It doesn't. Because this is a move for 2 years down the line.
Your entire goal, that's my thing. Your entire goal has always been towards the future, towards the down the line. This has set that in motion.
But we haven't moved any of the veterans off. Like I said, I noticed that contract. It said it had a no trade clause for the last 7 years.
Modified no trade clause, correct.
But the first year, it didn't say there was a no trade clause in there. Maybe it's just a omission by Cap Friendly.
Who gives a shit?
Well, let's say they decide that they're not doing well at the deadline. They're going to move Mat Barzal.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Why would they do that?
Maybe it's just, like I said, maybe it's a typo from Cap Friendly. I'm concerned why there's
a typo. Why does it matter?
So next year he doesn't have any no trade protection.
Who gives a shit?
What's to stop Lamoriello? What's to stop Lamoriello from moving him in the offseason?
What makes you think after just giving him an 8-year freaking extension, he's looking to move him next year? Do you understand how freaking illogical you sound right now?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Dude, I just gave you the possibility that we could sell off players at the deadline if we're not in the picture, and you acted like that's so far-fetched. Well, they haven't done it yet.
But he hasn't done that for years and years.
Well, he hasn't traded Mat Barzal, so why are you complaining and bitching about that?
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I just wondered if that was a typo, because usually
it's not a typo. That is never a typo. Cap Friendly is not a typo.
Okay. I just wondered why the first year doesn't have no trade protection and all the other years do.
Why are you concerned about that?
It means he could still be traded.
What do you think the likelihood of that is?
I don't know. Probably not.
You're concerned about it. Why are you concerned about that? If the likelihood is very low, why are you concerned about it?
Everybody else who's getting these deals, they all full no trade clauses from the minute that starts, all the veterans. Mat Barzal doesn't for some reason. I mean, I'm just wondering why. That's all. I'm just wondering why. It's a fair question to ask.
Why are you worried about that?
Because I don't want Lamoriello screwing it up.
How is he going to screw this up?
By moving Mat Barzal at the end of this year.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. He's senile. He's freaking in his 80s. Who knows why he does half the stuff?
Let's be fucking serious, huh? I don't want you to be playing, let's joke around. Let's be serious for a second.
Okay.
What do you realistically think the chance of him getting traded next year is? Because, there's no modified no move clause there.
If he gets traded next year, just remember I said it's a possibility just because of the way that laid out. And it was concerning to me. That's all. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just wondering why he didn't get the no trade clause immediately starting with that contract. That's all.
Some players don't ever get no trade clauses.
Oh, everybody on this team gets them.
Not everybody.
Name the last guy we signed back who didn't get at least some form of no trade clause.
Brock Nelson doesn't. Jordan Eberle didn't. What's your point?
Sanders Lee did.
Okay.
Palmieri did. Pajot did. All these guys do. All these guys have.
I guess I'm just confused as to why that is your sticking point. I'm
It's not a
talking about
sticking
how this
point.
changes. I'm talking about it's your sticking point as to why, oh, this is why I can't go ahead and bump the offseason grade up. I just don't
I'm not
understand
bumping
that.
the offseason grade up because we didn't improve the team this year. The team has not been improved.
You didn't give a shit about improving the team going into this offseason. All you cared about this offseason was restructuring and going towards the future. Would you not say, now that we have Mat Barzal signed long term, it gives us the flexibility if at the trade deadline we are not in a position we could sell assets and still guarantee that Mat Barzal's here? Would you not say that's a higher possibility than Mat Barzal being hypothetically traded because he doesn't have a modified no trade clause at the first year of the contract?
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. He has never done that yet. So you're asking me now all of a sudden, I'm going to put the shoe on the
Is
other
that a
foot.
higher possibility? I'm asking you about possibilities, right? That's how we're determining the grade. Did we improve the team? We added a defenseman, a defensive defenseman.
And
We
that's
didn't
all we
improve the
did.
offense.
That's
We
all
didn't
we
improve
did.
the offense. That is a lackluster item there. We have signed Mat Barzal to a team-friendly deal to a long-term contract, and that doesn't change your viewpoint on this offseason.
No. From what? From
Why
an
not?
F minus to an F? Okay.
How not?
I
We
just
now,
told
I just laid it out. You don't think if let's say we're 10 points out of a playoff spot come the deadline, you don't think we're doing anything? You think we're just sitting on our hands?
you mean like last year? When
Last year, I think they still wanted to say we could go ahead and build upon this team, which I thought was the wrong move, but that's what their opinion is. Let's say this year we're 10 points out of the playoff spot.
What's to stop her from doing the same thing? Saying, oh, well, who knows? Somebody got an ankle injury. We can run it back again next year. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he has never traded anyone away at the deadline. He only overpays to bring in guys, third liners, for exorbitant prices and gives them overpriced contract extensions. That's all he's done since he's been here. That's all he's done. I'm not saying, I hope he does move Mayfield regardless of where we are in the standings, honestly. Even if we're at 8th in the playoff spot or 9th, you move those guys anyway because it means your team isn't good enough to win a Stanley Cup. You move those free guys are pending free agents. You move them. That's what you need to do. You need to start reloading the team. Hopefully he realizes that. He hasn't done any of that yet. So that's why now here's the thing. If he does that, then my grade goes up. He hasn't done anything to improve the future of the team by bringing extra draft picks in, offloading veterans. He hasn't done any of that yet. That's how he gets an elevated grade from me.
Okay, here you go. So Brandon Gaines, and again, he said contractually per the CBA, Mat Barzal is not old enough to have no trade or modified no trade protection his first year. So that answers your question.
Okay.
Well, you were just complaining. Well, why doesn't he have
First of all, I was not complaining.
You just said it was a possibility they could trade him next year.
All I
They didn't give it to him.
No, see, you're losing your mind over there. All I said was, why was there not a no trade thing on that first year? That's all I said. Does it mean that they could trade him? That's all. But contractually, he's not able to. So in essence, he has a full no trade clause. Fantastic, great deal.
Well, modified no trade clause. But thank you, Brandon Gaines, for that on the CBA. We appreciate that. But here, I just can't believe how you don't see this could change the offseason grade.
It doesn't change my offseason grade. Signing Mat Barzal back long-term was not going to change my offseason grade.
Really? You've said so on other podcasts that it would.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You said if we were able to sign Mat Barzal and Noah Dobson long-term, that would definitely change your output on the offseason grade. You verbatim said that.
They didn't sign Noah Dobson long-term.
Oh, okay. Just because they only signed Mat Barzal, but it didn't move the grade up with Mat Barzal. Why didn't you just say Noah Dobson then? I'm just saying you want to say it doesn't change the offseason grade just because you don't want to change it.
All I've been very, very honest and straightforward. I've been saying that if Mat Barzal did not want to sign a long-term extension with this contract coming up and ending, if he just wanted to do 1-year tender, you had to move on and then you blow up the whole team. This kind of puts that off. Now you don't have to worry about that. Because if Mat Barzal says he didn't want to be here anymore, then you're in real trouble. Now, we bought ourselves some years. I just want to see him start the gradual transformation of this roster.
Do you believe it is a higher chance of likelihood if this year we were out of the playoff spot, right? Your big worry was if we start selling off pieces, then we're going to have to sell off Mat Barzal because he's not signed long term. And if we're losing, how could you convince Mat Barzal to stay here long? You said, let's break it down, your rational thought, and I cannot understand how your grade doesn't improve. You said your biggest worry was, and this is, I'm sure, how many people think, your biggest worry was, if we lose this year, how can we convince Mat Barzal to stay here long term? Is that accurate?
I think I said, if we were really in the tank, is Mat Barzal going to want to sign back after this year? That's what I said.
That's pretty synonymous with what I said.
No, that's not what you said.
Okay, if we're in the tank, would Mat Barzal want to stay? Would he want to stay?
Is it a possibility that maybe he doesn't want to stay? And
so
that concerned me.
You were worried that he might not want to stay here. Correct. If our team loses.
Correct.
Okay, very accurate.
I don't need to worry about that, but that doesn't change my grade.
Well, hold on. Now, if we lose and if we tank, if we don't perform, right, we haven't looked great this preseason. I know we're beating up on the lowly Flyers, but we haven't, and we're playing a lot of backups for that team. We're playing a lot of back. Again, like I think we still look slow out there on the ice. But now, if we have to rebuild, you do not have to worry about losing Mat Barzal. If we are well out of the playoff picture, which could be a possibility this season, you do not have to worry about, okay, now I have to lose Mat Barzal too. We could still build around him. We could sell off pieces and we could build around the Mat Barzals, the Oliver Wallstroms, the Noah Dobsons, the Adam Pellics, the Sorokins. You have all those core pieces intact.
That's right. Yes.
How does that not? You have been a guy.
It's just not changing my offseason grade.
You have been a guy since the beginning of this show when it started under the Lou Lamoriello. You have always wanted the team to start restructuring towards more youth.
Correct.
This signing gives us now flexibility to where if our team, let's say, is in first place in the division, we can add at the trade deadline. But let's say our team's in last place at the division because of injuries and everything crazy happened this season, and we've had the worst year anybody could have ever expected. We can sell off while still having asset certainty with Mat Barzal.
True.
That does not change your opinion of the offseason.
No, it does not change my opinion of the offseason. He was still going to be here next year regardless. He was going to be here next year regardless. Like I said, until he starts moving old guys off, I'm not convinced that he will.
So you don't think this is a step in the right direction? You think this is
a step in the right direction? I said it was
a step in the right direction. How does this not improve your grade?
Because it doesn't. This team has not improved this offseason. We did not improve. There's no improvement on the ice for this offseason. Potentially,
that's not true. That's not true. We've improved on the ice this offseason. That's not true.
By having Alexander Romanov.
Correct.
Okay. We don't score goals.
Correct.
We have not improved that.
Correct.
Okay. Then I don't see what type of improvement. We were top 7 in the league defensively last year. I mean, we're in the bottom
7. I don't think we were.
We're in the bottom third, 22, 23 in scoring every year. We need to score more goals. That would have made if we would have got Johnny Gaudreau, fantastic. All we did was bring everybody back to a team that didn't win last year. I love this contract. It's a great contract. I'm glad he signed it. It's going to be a steal in years to come. I think, anyway, it will be. You're going to watch 3 years from now, people saying 10 million. Oh, we don't want to give 10 million. You're going to see a whole bunch of guys getting 10 million plus in 3 years. And Mat Barzal is still going to be getting paid 9.15. That's why you sign guys like that early as opposed to late, because the prices never go down. They only go up. This is a great signing for the Islanders. Great signing.
So let me ask you this. Great signing by the Islanders. Great signing by Lou. But it does not. So a great hometown discount that Mat Barzal takes, that doesn't change your opinion on Lou. Lou did a great job of signing him to a hometown discount. That does not change your opinion on Lou's offseason because he had another fantastic signing of Mat Barzal. A really cheap, team-friendly deal doesn't change what your opinion is of his ability to work this offseason. Not at all.
That's correct.
So you'd have been just, okay, fine and dandy, right? Okay, this is no different at all than if we were to sign him next year. And let's say if he blew up to a 8-year, $10.5 million deal. There's no difference. $1.4 million doesn't make difference to the grumpy old man because, man, it's kind of synonymous. I don't give him plaudits or minuses if he signs no matter what. If he signed to a $15 million deal, well, it's no real difference. The dollar doesn't make a difference, I guess.
Here's the thing. He should have been proactive on all these deals. That's what he should have done. And some of this, he's finally starting to do it. Maybe he's waking up. Maybe it's an edict from ownership saying, hey, start doing what the rest of the guys in the league do. I don't know. I liked what they did. I liked the draft that they had.
I could see this paving the way if we struggle next year, this year.
Then guess what? If that happens, then I reevaluate.
Okay, got you. So you're retroactively midway through the season going to go back and change his grade. How the hell does this work? You're like a crappy teacher who wants to say, gotcha, we need to change the grades of our tests for three months ago.
Until he actually moves some of the veterans off this roster, it's the same team. Has he improved the team from last year to this year?
Yes.
Enough to be a playoff team?
Perhaps.
Okay.
I can't tell you that. I think that we're probably not going to be a playoff caliber team, but I think we could be on the fringe. What he did to me, and this is why I improved the grade, in my opinion, is he has added cost certainty of an asset in Mat Barzal for 8 more years. We could suck out loud this year, and I do not have to worry about Mat Barzal leaving or fleeing. He signed long-term, and we could sell off assets and start a rebuild or a retool while having the cornerstone franchise center on our team long-term. That gives me, and he signed on a freaking sweetheart deal. You're right. That does improve the grade for Lou Lamoriello for me this offseason. It's not a freaking A. It's not a B. It's now a C. It was a freaking D- before that move. Getting a guy like that, a franchise caliber center, on a sweetheart deal and giving us cost certainty with him when there were question marks from you and everybody else, whether he was going to be here long term, that moves him up to a C in my book.
Okay. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. I mean, just re-signing your own guys, that doesn't blow my skirt up. I'm glad he did it. It was a great deal. It was a great deal. Good job by him. The offseason is over. It was over as soon as free agents started. We didn't sign anybody. Free agency was over. We did nothing in the offseason to improve our team. This does not improve our team in the short run. It absolutely does not. Potentially, it does in the future, but we'll have to see what he does.
So your grades for the offseason don't include any long-term implications. So meaning he could have traded away every first-round pick in a franchise history for the next few years, but it's all we're looking about. The grumpy old man only evaluates the short term, right? Based off of what you're saying, he has helped the long-term picture of the team, which should help his grade. I'm just trying to use your logic here to get to should he have a higher grade or not. I just don't understand how we're not on the same page.
I'm just not improving his grade for the offseason.
You wrote that shit in red pen, and you're saying I'm not going back and correcting that answer, even if you could halfway squint at it to say
I already gave him my offseason grade.
Oh, so now it's semantics because the offseason's over. It doesn't count. Oh, okay.
Offseason's over.
Okay, so it's just semantics. Now we're in a semantics battle. You don't want to give it to him because it's not the offseason anymore.
Here's the thing. I wanted them to re-sign Mat Barzal to a long-term deal. They signed him for less than I thought he'd probably get 10. And if he had a really good year, it could even go up higher than that, particularly with the salary cap going up the amount of money that's going up.
Correct. I think we had all – go ahead. I'm sorry.
So for me, it's win-win. It really is. I want him to jettison some of the guys on this roster, the veterans. In 2 years, most of them come off the books anyway. Most of them. I mean, I'm just not, like I said, off season's over. It's over. This is in season now. It's over.
So I guess Lou's had a great season. Even if we miss out in the playoffs, he's had a great season with this.
GM of the year, he signed one of his guys back.
Oh man.
Here's the thing. He was, and his thing, I'm not ripping Lamoriello for this. I'm not ripping anyone. You're just trying to get me to change some grade I'm just saying he did what he had to do. I'm glad he did it. It was a smart move. Was it because ownership said to him, we need to get this kid signed because he's the future, he's who we want to market this team around? I don't know. I'm going to bet it probably had something to do with that. Now the next thing is stripping the C off of Anders Lee and giving it to Mat Barzal. That's step 2.
I just don't understand how. And again, last time I want to hit on this, you could say there's a win-win for us. And I think you had made a statement earlier. I want to interject on, and I wanted to mention on. You're right. We had said before we knew exactly what the estimations were going to be over the next 4 years. We thought Mat Barzal was going to get 9 and change. Realistically, probably 9 and change. When we saw that, hey, that cap's going to increase $10 million projected over the next 4 years, next 4 seasons. I thought it was next 4. Sure, it's not
the next 3. 24-25. By 24-25, it's going to be up.
So let's say the next 3 years is going to increase by 10 million. So we really thought that, hey, that's going to drive the price up. And I thought probably maybe even 10 million, but he still got him on that cheaper term deal. I thought it was a win-win, just like you said. Yep. I'm just saying when we win on those type of items, I think somebody deserves credit. And I think Lou Lamb, I'm just, the reason it bugs me so much on this, Grumpy, and the reason I'm making a huge freaking stick out of it is we criticize Lou for everything he does wrong. And I feel like you are not giving him enough credit for the signing of this.
I gave him all the credit.
But it doesn't change your opinion on what he's done this offseason or even this regular. It doesn't, like you said, it's a win-win. Where does he get credit, right? We give grades all the time. Where does he get this credited in his grade?
I consider this an A. I consider this move an A. Absolutely. But it's not for this year. It's for the future, which is great. Okay. But it doesn't improve the team this year. It has nothing to do with this year's team. That's what I'm doing. I mean, like I said, I love the deal. I don't know why you make such a big deal of this. I said to you, there's nothing negative on this podcast today, and there isn't. You're trying to make it be a negative, trying to pin me down to some change in a grade. I'm not changing my grade. Guess what? The term papers have already been handed in. Just because Johnny or Louie decides, hey, 6 weeks after classes ended and the report cards have been sent home, well, here's extra credit. No, maybe you get it in summer school or you get it on next year when you're repeating the 12th grade, Lou Lamoriello. Maybe that's what it's like.
I look at it like this, Grumpy. He went ahead and was writing down, you said pencils down. He was writing down a few extra words on a paper. You said, that's it. That's it. We're not including those extra words.
Rip the paper up.
You then looked at that last question. You said, we're going to mark that all with red ink, even if that answer was correct. I'm just trying to get on the same. Here's the thing. There's a reason we jumped on and did the show today. We've got Steven Rosner coming on tomorrow. It's going to be an 8:30 start time. So not an 8 o'clock, but an 8:30 start time. Mark your calendars. It's not going to be TJ time. We had to adjust there for all schedules. It's going to be an 8:30 start time. So don't go ahead and try to trash on me tomorrow when we run 30 minutes late. But an 8:30 start time. And I knew Grumpy and I had to talk about this before off air, before we had a guest on. It's going to be a great guest to have on the show. And I wanted to make sure this type of semantics didn't monopolize conversation.
Now, if he would have done this, before the grades were all handed in, because guess what? Nobody's handing out grades now. Nobody's handing out off-season grades now. They've already done that. That's already been done. The paper's been handed in. The grades have been graded. Anything you do that counts towards next year. That's all it does.
So let me ask you this. If he made this signing 2 weeks ago, would this have changed your all-season grade?
It would have had to have been 4 weeks ago.
Holy shit. I love you, dude. You moved the
I wish he would have done this.
I love you. You moved the goalpost. I love you, Grumpy.
Honestly, I wish he would have done this 4 weeks ago, because then we wouldn't have had to talk about a whole episode on Zach Parise being a first-line winger.
Trust me, that's still an issue on this team.
He
will be a first-line winger.
Zach Parise,
that's still an issue.
Zach Parise said, yeah, I want to stay on that first line as long as possible. I bet you do, Zach. Man, I tell you what. Zach Parise. It's no wonder he's never won anything.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
I'm just saying.
Oh, buddy. I do love that, though. Signing him late. Okay. The term papers were already turned in.
It's like I always say this
will not amend his grade.
Here's the thing. I always used to tell my 2 imbecile sons that, something has to be done by this day. It's like I'd say to them, guess what? If they told you I had to get off the planet and it blows up at 3 o'clock, it doesn't mean you show up at 3:15. Because guess what? You're done. You're done and dusted. That's Lou Lamoriello this year. There was a movie I watched, just last week. It was great. They just released it, I think, on 4K of all things, from the 50s. What was the name of the movie? I can't
Aliens
remember.
versus Predators.
When Worlds Collide. And it's schlocky as shit. It really is. But it's one of those guilty pleasure movies. I saw it as a kid, and I just remember it fondly. And there was some guy who said, yes, he would invest the money because guess what? The planet is going to end at this particular time by 3 o'clock on this date. And it was like 5 after 3. It's like, oh, I can't believe I believed you scientists. You said it was going to be at 3 o'clock. And of course, then the planet falls apart 2 minutes later. And this guy who funneled all this money to build this rocket ship to go to some faraway world where only 40 people could go to repopulate the human population, he was paralyzed. Somehow, when he saw the rocket ship starting to take off, he's like, because they wouldn't let him on there, he's like, he gets up out of that freaking wheelchair and starts trying to walk towards the rocket ship. It was great. He didn't make it. It was even better.
Oh, good gracious. Oh, man. Oh, good. Now, I want to mention before we get into comments, did you happen to see Mat Barzal's statement?
No. Read me the statement.
Okay. Oh, it took a long time for you to get that answer. I was worried for you.
Read me the statement.
This was, and I'm going to pop it up on screen so everybody can read at home. I'm a visual learner. Kevin Kurtz said, this is a quote from Mat Barzal. I genuinely, and then parentheses here, love it here. I think anybody who plays here knows that it's one of the top places to play in the league. From the practice rink we have, UBS, or I'm sorry, Grumpy, USB, UBS Arena.
Wouldn't it have been cool if he would have said USB Arena?
Yeah, no, nobody fucks that up but you. UBS Arena, the boys in the room, Lou being here, a fresh coaching staff. Hold on, let me highlight that. A fresh coaching staff, the city itself, the lifestyle is elite. So he chalks this up one of the top places to play here because of a few things. The practice arena we have, UBS, aka USB Arena for Grumpy, the boys in the room, the country club atmosphere is why he likes it. Lou being here, a fresh coaching staff. Let's come back to that one in a second. In the city itself, a fresh coaching staff, Grumpy.
Kind of fresh. But how many guys are back from last year? Lane Lambert. Isn't everybody else gone except for Lambert? Didn't everybody else kind of get shuffled off to Buffalo?
Except the fresh. Yeah, I was about to say, pretty much.
Well, there you go. So it's pretty much a fresh coaching staff. Yeah, I think he was just happy Barry's not here.
So do you remember all those conversations we had when people even said, oh, how do you know the relationship's not good between Mat Barzal and Barry? I don't know. Remember, Mat Barzal just said a week ago he's got not a bad word to say about Barry Trotz. Do you remember that one? I don't have a bad word to say about Barry Trotz.
And he did not say a bad word about Barry Trotz here either. Let me tell you something what Mat Barzal needs to do now. If he wants to be a real leader on this team, he needs to start politicking guys who are going to be unrestricted free agents, trying to get them to come to Long Island, to wherever, UBS Arena. It's a university of bullshit. I should be able to remember that.
Oh my God.
But that's what he needs to do. He needs to start, working the back channels like Brady does. Like, hey, you guys need to come here. We want to win. I don't know if he has that type of cachet around the league, but he needs to start being a salesman to get players to come to play for the Islanders.
He better start putting up video game numbers if he wants to increase that cachet he has amongst the league. You can't have Paul and cachet putting up 59 points a season.
I think people know how good he is and just figured he was shackled by Barry and the system.
So a fresh coaching staff. Again, I know I mentioned it. He had not a bad word to say, but man, oh man, is he really praising this new viewpoint and a new coaching staff? Remember when everybody said, oh no, Barry Trotz was loved when he left Washington. They loved him there. They didn't have a bad word to say about him. They're so happy about that Stanley Cup. Yeah, Matt Barzal didn't have a bad word to say about Barry Trotz either, but man, oh man, is he really loving that new coaching staff? How could he love the new coaching staff more than the last coaching staff? How is that even possible?
It's not possible. Impossible. Here's the thing. Like I said, I love this signing. It's fantastic news for Islander fans. It's great. It's great for their future, potentially. Let's see. Still need to move the old man out. Still got to be moved out. I want someone.
I don't disagree with that. I really don't. But here's the thing. Man, oh man. He's had a propensity the last 2 off seasons to sign restricted free agents that are valuable to our team to, I think, team-friendly deals. And that's something he's done well. I think you could say that's a trend now.
The last 2 years he has done that with the Pellick and Pulak deals and this one. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Grumpy. This is, again, a fantastic.
The Dobson deal was just a bridge deal. So, he doesn't get any credit for that one from me. And the same thing with Romanov. They're just bridge deals. Now, how he handles the Sorokin situation is going to be another, hey, how does he make that happen at an affordable number? He's unrestricted free agent. Is it after this year? Is he unrestricted or next year?
I'm not quite. It's 2 years. 2 years. I think he's got left. He's got 2 years left on his contract. Okay. After this, it's not this year, but after next year.
Okay, he should be renegotiating Sorokin's deal now.
For all we know, maybe he already has had talks about staying here long term.
You know what? If he's done that, now he's taken another step forward. Not for this year, but for moving forward. He absolutely has. This year
with all these bonus points you're giving him next year. My God, I think we should keep Lou Lamoriello forever, Grumpy, based off of that analogy, based off of that mindset.
What can I tell you? He won't win GM. He won't win GM of the year this year, but maybe next year.
Jesus Christ. He's just a second too late turning in the paper.
It wasn't a second too late. He was months too late.
He was too late turning in that homework assignment.
They've already started the school year this year. It's already been started. Already started. This is like the first quarter. He's doing some proactive stuff in the first quarter. That's good. Don't screw it up the rest of the way because it still only counts for a quarter of your grade.
So he's already perfect on a quarter of his grade, though.
So far, this first semester, I would give him an A.
Holy shit, Lou Lamoriello's got an A. Dude, well, here you go.
We're only 2 weeks into the school year. We're only 2 weeks into the school year. Okay? Long way to go. So this is just review work that he's doing now. He's getting his review work done. They're pretty much going to ask him to do other things like, hey, can you conjugate a verb later on? And, can he do that?
Now he's going to Spanish. Holy shit.
Hey, he's going to have a lot of things he's got to do. Oh. Is he going to be able to advance? Last year he did okay in chemistry. How's he going to do in physics this year? I mean, I don't care if you did good in physics. This is everything he's done, like this Barzal thing. This is review work. This is review from last year. Okay, yeah. You know how to add, multiply, and divide. Okay, well, now we're doing pre-calc. Okay? I know you took geometry last year or trigonometry, and now you're going into calculus. That doesn't mean anything. The first one was just review. Pre-calc was a review. Now you're going to go into calculus. How you do from here on out is how you're going to get judged on this school year.
I love the analogy, Grumpy. I do. I really do love it.
So far, he started good. He's been good in his review work.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear, Grumpy. He's been good on his review work. Real quick, we have an ad today to read from DraftKings. Hockey fans, it's finally time to hit the ice again. And thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you're in for a season of a lifetime. New customers can bet just $5 on any team and get $200 in free bets if they win. And if that's not good enough, if that wasn't enough excitement, you could turn small bets into even bigger payouts with same-game parlays. Combined multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and for an even bigger shot at a bigger payday. And DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, and you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So, like when you're building these parlays, Grumpy, how many times do you think you're going to build in your parlay that Josh Bailey's going to have a power play goal?
Gosh. So how does it work? How do you do it?
So you add additional items to the parlay. So like Islanders are going to win. Josh Bailey's going to have a power play goal. Sorokin will have a
What are
shutout.
the
You
odds
add a
on
whole
that?
bunch of things, and it adds in to
Okay.
the odds and how much you get paid out.
All right. If Josh, I mean, that's got to be like 1,000,000 to 1. Josh Bailey's scoring a power play goal, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Islanders win. That's 50-50.
Oh wow! So you think we're an average team? Okay.
I do think we're an average. I think we're a little bit above average team. I mean, I think we're a borderline playoff team. That's what we are. We're top half of the league, right in that range between 14 and 20.
So we've got a 50-50 chance the Islanders win.
Right.
Sorokin with a shutout. What do you put those odds at, Grumpy?
That's probably a little bit better odds.
Okay.
If
Okay.
he gets a shutout, we're gonna win. So that's like the daily double.
No. So like the way it works is he has to have a shutout and the Islanders have to win.
Yeah, well, if he gets a shutout, the Islanders are winning. So that's pretty much there's your daily double, right? I feel good about those. But now you're trying to go for the trifecta. And if you're saying the trifecta means that Josh Bailey has to score a power play goal, the odds are astronomical, honestly.
So like a $1 bet, how much do you think that would yield?
Think about it. With all the goals that are scored in the NHL, I feel more confident that Ilya Sorokin will get a shutout than Josh Bailey will score a power play goal. And I don't even think it's close.
Sorokin had more shutouts last year than Bailey had power play goals by a lot.
I think then Josh Bailey had power play points, even with the king of the secondary assist. I don't know how many power play points he had, but Sorokin had how many shutouts did he have last year? 6, 7?
Seven, right?
Okay, Bailey didn't have no set. I don't even think he had 7 points the whole year. I mean, I don't know how many power play points he had.
Okay, he had 2 power play goals and 9 power play assists.
11. And he's on the ice all the freaking time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to get back. So
he had 2 power play goals last year?
2. He must have scored them all in the same game. One must have hit him off the ass, and another one must have hit him off the
bounced off his ass and went in, I think.
Yeah, so about to say one hit him off the ass, one busted him in the teeth, I guess. But I'm sorry, we got to get back to the ad read. I just was saying they have even bigger. You can use parlays to get even bigger payouts. But download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $200 in free bets if they do. Again, that's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes and the description for additional details. Yeah, so I guess Grumpy's going to go ahead and load that up. He'll go ahead and say Josh Bailey will score a power. Maybe you could just take a safe one. Josh Bailey won't score a power play goal.
I feel good about that.
One. And you could say Varlamov will let in a short-sided goal. That will probably also increase your odds.
That's pretty easy. That's like even money. Absolutely.
Oh man. Doug R. And we're going to we're going to choose selected comments just because we don't want to be on here forever, because we do have a podcast tomorrow with Steven Rosner. We're looking forward to it. So we just want to get through a few comments here. Doug R says, does this help bring in a good unrestricted free agent at some point?
I don't know how good of a sales. I don't know what Mat Barzal's status is around the league, if he's somebody who's magnetic and people want to gravitate towards him, or I don't know. But I hope that's the case, because he should absolutely, Pelech, Pulak, those guys should be doing everything hey, you really want to come here? We've really turned it around. Barry's not here anymore. You guys can succeed. Hey, we need to get some scoring here. We're going to be winners. Sell it. The nightlife here is great. Every kid who moves here, they got girls that they're marrying within a year or two. I mean, there's a lot of, hey, that's why Mat Barzal's back. Look he found himself. I don't know. What does she do?
She's all I know is she's a Jewish girl from New York, from Long Island.
I thought maybe she was a nurse too.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
What's up with all these What's up with all these hockey players dating people that work in the healthcare field or married?
Yeah, I don't know. But I would hope that maybe players are starting to see this. This is a big departure from, John Tavares. The other guy's Dobson. He had to stay. I mean, Kyle Palmieri, he's finished. His career's over, right? All these other guys, we overpaid for Lee, and at the time it was an overpayment for Nelson and Eberle at the time. But now you're seeing the last couple of years, Pulak, Pelech, pretty much below market deals. Certainly for Pellick, maybe not for Pulak. Barzal, below market deal. Maybe this is maybe they're going to get a little bit of a change in how they're viewed around the NHL. Remember, you had the way the Islanders were perceived by the NHL for years and years and years was like, man, nobody wants to play there. Maybe, and it takes a while to change that perception. Maybe this starts to change that perception. I told you today was going to be nothing but positive podcast. And I think it has been, even though you're trying to attack me on some ridiculous.
You find ways
regrade.
to say things. You find ways to say things that sound somewhat positive but have negative connotations involved with them. I asked you a simple question of, does this move improve your offseason grade? And you fought me on it for fucking 20 minutes and then said, oh, well, the reason it doesn't is because I couldn't justify the reason it didn't earlier. It's because the grades were turned in. I already slapped an F on it, and I'm not going back and changing this, damn it. That's what this was, Grumpy. That's what that was. It was a
off-season's over. I said the off-season was over. And then I had, since you weren't quick enough to pick up on it, I had to go in and give you an explanation in the education system so maybe you could understand it.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, what can I say? Druel says, it's crazy. It's also a miracle. Lou was able to get Barzal on a sweetheart deal and an 8-year contract. I'm crying real tears right now.
Great deal.
Yeah.
Great deal.
Frank K says, big night. Barzal signs and Aaron Judge hits 60.
Actually,
second homer.
I like, maybe that could be his nickname. Big night Barzy. How about that? That's a type of nickname that would stick. Had to score himself. Like, remember that time he had 5
points? He's a guy who explodes on the scene and has huge games against big-time opponents. Big night Barzy.
I tell you what, he's a guy who doesn't shrink in the clutch. That much I can
No, I was about to say, he plays and turns up for the freaking big games. Always does.
We have quite a few shrinking violets on our team. He's not one of them.
Who would you say is a shrinking violet on our team, Grumpy? I'll indulge you.
Take your pick. This is going to be a positive podcast. Like I said, he's not one of them. Nothing but positivity today. I've been nothing but positive today. Even though you're trying to drag me into negative territory, I won't do it. I refuse.
Let's see here. Next comment says, yep. Lane Isler says, Aaron Judge hit 62. Let's have a good stream, boys. Matty B is back. Let's go Islanders. Man, that
Aaron Judge is a damn cheater. You know he's on the juice.
Stop. Doug R says, good for Lou getting this done. He still needs to be put out to the pasture, though.
There you go. That's right. I agree with that.
Let me ask you this. Does your opinion of Lou change at all? Let's say if we're in a bad situation this year and he sells off assets. Here's the thing. I don't think he's done a good job in the past selling off assets. But I think one of the things he does better than most is he gets the guys to these restricted free agents to sign back on sweetheart deals. That's something that I will say is a trend now. The last 3 he's done that with have I think, been in the Islanders' favor. Pellick, Pulak, Barzal. I think those are all deals that are in the Islanders' favor.
I agree. They were.
And I think that's something he's done really well.
Yes, now, he's always been cheap. He's always been cheap as shit. Even when he was with the Devils. He's always been cheap.
I need him to be.
He thinks it's his money coming out of his pocket. It's not. Here's the thing, though.
Hold on.
That might have cost us. That might have cost us Johnny Gaudreau.
How so?
By him being so freaking cheap and thinking the money's coming out of his pocket. He's one of those guys. He's got deep pockets and short arms. I can't get it down in there.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. We've overpaid for plenty of players in the past, i.e.
just the wrong guys.
i.e. Jean-Gabriel Pageau, i.e. Kyle Palmieri. We've signed and paid freaking players way too much in the past. It's just like, for whatever reason, it's the unrestricted free agents we freaking overpay for with an arm and a foot. But these restricted free agents were able to sign back, and we get them an arm and a leg. Sorry. These restricted free agents were able to get back on team-friendly deals on a pretty consistent basis that are all the core pieces of the team.
Yeah, like I said, I just wish we could have got Johnny Gaudreau. Then I'm like, yeah, okay, we're on our way. We still need to move out some guys. Until he actually shows a predilection to start moving off these veterans, not signing them to long-term extensions, which is something he's done up till this year. up till this offseason. He did it last year by signing Casey Zizekas to a ridiculous 6-year contract extension, to signing Kyle Palmieri to a 4-year contract extension. Unnecessary. Don't need to do that. I mean, maybe he's changed. Maybe he realizes, maybe, and I'm hoping against hope, he realizes that, you know what? This team is done for the most part. We're kind of putting our ducks in order for the next run. I hope that's what he's planning on doing. Until he does it, I have to reserve my judgment, though.
I think too, right? Immediate items this helps with marketing the team. I think for free agents, I think it does, right?
Absolutely. He should be on every single billboard, every placard. He should be out there doing all the interviews, everything.
Yes. He needs to be thrown to see onto it. Like we had mentioned that he needs to see. If not this year, midway through the year, next year, I don't care. He needs to see sooner rather than later.
He is the face of the franchise. He's the face of the franchise. We didn't have a face in the franchise. He has been, as far as I'm concerned, since Tavares. It was never Anders Lee. Never. This kid is the face of the franchise. They need to market him. They need to market the Islanders. They need to market, hey, we want to be more in the modern NHL. We want to score more. We want to get some younger, high-energy players out here. They need to go more into the 21st century NHL. It's not 1990. It's 2022. Let's do it, Lou. Let's go, Lou.
These two are a little out of order, but this is why. Brandon Gaines, yep, he didn't have a no trade clause because technically he was still a restricted free agent, so that makes sense. And Ariana also right on that too. So thank you guys there for pointing that out immediately. Look at Martin's, look at Matthews' contracts are the same. Not sure why, but not 100% sure. Yep, when they still are RFAs, you can't have that trade protection on them.
Great. Like I said, I just asked because I saw it. I saw that, I'm like, that looked funky. And I didn't say it was going to happen. I'm like, what does that mean? Could he move him? Right?
Got a comment here from John Smith saying it's a fail if he doesn't hit 80 points this year.
I disagree. I mean, look who he's playing with. He's playing with Fossil Jr. on one side and who the hell knows who on the other side. 2 former Devils. Ugh. Maybe he'll create for them. I mean, he creates chances. Can they finish? I don't know. They're both volume shooters. I just would, man, I tell you what. I wish they had Johnny Gaudreau. Oh.
I know. You mention it all the time.
I know. Because I think they would have been electric together. Just electric.
It's like I wish we had Vladimir Tarasenko from last year if he was truly as cheap as people had said because they were worried about his bum shoulder. I said, take the freaking risk, freaking throw down on Black. I feel confident. I like the way this doctor came out and pledged his freaking his name and his his medical reputation on that. I would say he's probably correct, and we didn't do that. Dimitri P says, guys, Kyle Clutterbuck only has 2 years left on his deal. Stop focusing on that bum Mat Barzal. If we lose Cal, say goodbye to our Stanley Cup hopes.
Bye-bye. Stanley Cup, I guess.
Look at that, Dimitri. Look at that freaking raccoon. That's pretty cute. Would you ever get a pet raccoon, Grumpy?
Hell no.
Kind of cute.
Yeah. Oh, no. They scratch your eyes out.
They just eat. All you do is you feed them and they eat and they stay happy.
Absolutely not. No.
How do you eat a raccoon?
They're wild freaking animals. They're not domesticated in any sense of the word.
They just eat. You just go ahead and hand them food. They're trash pandas, Grumpy.
Hey, let's get a barracuda. Let him swim around in the bathtub. Hey, look, he's cute. Look at how he's got that underbite. Yeah, that's what we want. No.
Ooh, barracuda. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay,
I know how much Grumpy hates that song. That's why I did that. Scott L says, TJ, way to get dressed for the black tie affair. I know. What can I say? I had to make sure I dressed to impress. Jake Bellows says, hey, I couldn't stay away. What's up, Jake Bellows? You got to be happy about the news.
Man, I'll tell you what. Today they had Kiefer Bellows on a line with Pajot and Josh Bailey. But you know what? I want Bellows playing every night. I just want him playing every night. I don't know who sits, but it should not be Kiefer Bellows. The kid has a great shot. He had a post on a power play Bailey was on the power play too. Ugh.
Oh my God. I didn't
But-
show you the power play goal by Bailey. It's pretty impressive. I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh God. But I mean, he rang one off the post. Kiefer Bellows, watch out.
Kiefer Bellows, watch out. He's in. So this is the goal. I mean, like Josh Bailey, he's fantastic. He gets
Where
to
is
the
he?
dirty areas. He
Is he
fights
the guy
hard.
furthest from the net?
Hold on, you don't see him yet. It's a slap shot by Bellows. You see that fantastic goal by Bailey, Grumpy?
Kudos to Bailey. He went somewhere he's never gone before, like Star Trek. They've gone places he's never gone before in front of the net. He was kind of backing away from it. Did you notice? Oh, who can I pass to from here? Good for him. You know how many goals that counts for, Josh? Freaking 0 because it's preseason.
Kiefer Bellows, I'm pretty sure, gets an assist for that too. He's on the score sheet. Good for him.
Let me tell you something.
His shot caused the rebound that allowed for this marvelous goal by Josh Bailey.
Man, that thing looked like it was going in anyway.
Look at the in between the legs. It's like in Rocket League. He just sniped a freaking goal off his teammate, Grumpy.
Yeah, because I think it was going in anyway.
We can't see it, but maybe not.
Let's see. Yeah, it absolutely was going in. Absolutely.
Holy shit!
It might have already been in the net.
Stole the goal. He stole the goal. This bastard did. It was like on the line. It's like in soccer where the guy, it's like slowly trickling across the line and the teammate goes ahead and blasts it in when it's freaking going to go in. He's like, what the fuck? Why are you stealing credit for my goal, bro? Yep. That's exactly what Josh Bailey did.
That's a Josh Bailey special. It had nothing to do with anything. Just happened to be standing there looking for a juice box. I mean, gosh, that thing was going in the net.
The season's back, Grumpy. We're back in action. Oh, buddy, Grumpy. Who doesn't love that? But literally, the puck, he makes contact with the puck where it's on the line.
On the line going in. It was going. No way. Look at this. I think it was already.
You can see it right here.
It was almost in the net already.
It's on the red line. A bit of that puck is on the red line. Oh, look at this. Maybe it's not. Maybe from the angle. I don't know. It looks like it is going in, though. Yeah, dude, that puck is
it's already way past. Look at that. It might have already been in the net.
And maybe halfway over the line, he said, buddy, I'm going to go ahead and tap
it. He's already scared. Oh, I got to get away from the net.
Dude.
I'm allergic to it. That thing was already in the net.
Oh, man. Well, he's got himself another power play goal. Josh Bailey off to a freaking fiery start. Hopefully this carries over to the regular season.
There you go.
Oh, buddy. Thank you. Tony Cheese said, Tony Cheese back in action says somebody wrote that statement for Barzal. There's no way he meant to say any of that. He meant any of that.
I think he meant that he was have a fresh coaching staff. I think he meant that.
Oh, dude. Maybe he didn't mean it to be perceived.
Here's the thing.
That way, but
absolutely. That's absolutely written for him. Absolutely. Anything that's in a Twitter form is written by them.
Goon's got a comment, Grumpy, for you. To read, Grumpy.
Oh, I'm sorry. TJ.
I said he's got a comment for you to read. Okay.
What should Grumpy's punishment be if he's caught trying to sneak peeking at scores again during the podcast? His allowance be suspended? Be forced to listen to Hootie and the Blowfish?
Oh man. Here's the thing. When we do the other show, the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, if Grumpy's watching the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's like having to try to fight with him for any attention. He'll just be freaking glued to that damn TV. And I had to get him to hit pause on it. What, Grumpy?
Not true. You're just ridiculous as usual.
Oh, okay. I'm just
How come you're not wearing a shirt?
You see, this is changing. You're baiting and switching, Grumpy. You're moving on to the next thing. Don't Smoke Crack says, any word on Bailey's contract extension?
I bet he gets a contract extension from that.
No, please.
2 years.
Please tell me that's a joke.
2 years. They shouldn't. But would it surprise me? Is Lou going to be here? Because any sane general manager certainly wouldn't. He's got how many? 2 years left, Bailey? Got 2 years left on his deal?
Yeah, he's got after this year, he's got 1 year left. So he's got 2 years start this year and next year.
Man, I hope I live long enough for him to be off the team.
Well, shit, I hope you do too. You planning on dying in the next 2 years? Or you think he's going to get extended?
He could get extended again. This is about the time he does his extension, 2 years early. Oh, yeah. He's done that I'll take a re-sign on that. Garth Snow, sure, I'll sign up early. You won't have to worry about me leaving the team.
Yeah. Doug R says, does Barzal sign this if Barry is still here? I vote no.
I'm going to bet that it was a one or the other deal. I think that had something to do with it. He's like, I can't play for this guy anymore, maybe. Just something like that. Would you, if you were an offensive dynamo, would you want to play for Barry Trotz?
Hell no.
No,
Hell
the answer is no.
It's like, here's the thing. Let's talk football. Maybe some people understand football a little better that listen to the podcast and like, oh, well, no, Barry's a Hall of Fame coach. Would you go play for freaking who the hell was the Georgia Tech coach that won the national championship?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember. It's a long time ago. It's like 90? Jeez, I don't know.
That was in the early 2000s.
I don't remember.
It won 1990.
You're not talking about Paul Johnson, are you? The guy with the
Bobby Ross.
Bobby Ross.
Oh, Bobby Ross. It'd be like saying Bobby Ross, right, won himself a national championship. Hey, we want to recruit you, wide receiver XYZ, to come play for Georgia Tech. Well, Coach Ross, all you do is run the football.
Oh no,
hey, was Barry Trotz.
That was Paul Johnson was the coach for the running the option. That wasn't Bobby Ross.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
It's like when Barry Switzer was coaching Oklahoma and they're running the triple option wishbone, and they brought in Troy Aikman, and he's like, no. No. And he transferred to UCLA because it's like, no. That's what it's like. Barry Trotz, offensive skill players. He's gone. I want to see a transition away, and hopefully you're going to see a stylistic transition from us as well under Lane Lambert. I think that'll do something for potentially bring in free agents as well. But the guys have to sell. Mat Barzal needs to sell Islanders. Noah Dobson, not here long enough. Who cares about Pulik and Pelech? They're defensemen, but Barzal has to be the guy. Who cares about Anders Lee? Most of the young players don't live in the cul-de-sac, cooking out, eating burgers and hot dogs with their families. No. You want to get young players. Man, I want them to poach somebody off of Toronto. Let's move Scott Mayfield and Semyon Varlamov to Toronto for somebody.
Varlamov had no trade clause and didn't want to go to any of the Canadian teams.
I don't give a shit. It's his last year here. Get out. Send you to Utica.
God almighty. You mean the Bridgeport?
No, Utica.
Scott L says supposedly talks between Barzal and Lou began 2 months ago. Again, Lou keeps us waiting until the last minute.
Yeah, see, 2 months ago we could have gotten credit for it for last year.
Oh,
now
there it is.
Better luck next year, Louie boy.
Matthew DiBernardo says great contract. Absolutely, Matthew. Brett W says Barzal isn't a lying piece of garbage like Pajama Boy.
That's fair.
Yep, he was a man of his word.
All Tavares had to say was, I don't know what I'm going to do. You shouldn't profess your love, and then, and it was his right. It was his right. They should have moved him at the deadline.
He purposely misled everybody, which is where the disdain comes from him, because he himself knew they had no aspirations of stay here on the island, and he freaking purposely led on the team, ownership, and freaking the fan base. They should have known better, though.
And what have I said, though? What have I said from the get-go? You couldn't let this happen again with Mat Barzal. You had to say to him what they should have said to Tavares. Hey, it's a year before you're going into free agency next year. This is the extension you want to sign. If he says, oh, let's wait. Sorry, we're moving you. That's just business. That's just business. You can't lose a player like that for nothing, like the Islanders did. It didn't set the Islanders back in the long run. They've been the most successful they've been in forever. But think about how much better they would be today if they had traded him for a couple of firsts and a second and maybe a young player. Then all this grousing that I'm doing about having us a whole bunch of old veterans, I wouldn't be doing that because we'd have a whole bunch of young players already in the system. Maybe we don't re-sign an Anders Lee, or we don't go out and trade first-round picks for J.G. Pajot and Kyle Palmieri because we had those younger players coming in from the John Tavares trade. See, that's why you can't let that happen. And they did. And I don't blame for all the things that I blame Lamoriello on, that's not on him. That's on Garth Snow all the way. All the way.
Doug R says, I think I brought that up earlier. Does this help bring UFAs? I think we answered that already. D-Cut says Brock deserves a raise.
No way.
Barzal contract.
No way. He's going to be 33 when his contract is up. Let's see how he is when he's 33. Maybe here's the thing. He's not getting a raise. He's going to have to take a pay cut. I'm not giving a 33-year-old anything more than 2 years. And that depends on how he's playing. For me, I'd move him. He's a guy who's movable. If your team tanks this year, he's a guy who can get you a first and a second. Expedite that rebuild. Nothing wrong with that.
Tony G says Barzal's agent needs to be euthanized. It's one of those late-term abortions. Okay, knock him out there many years after.
He could have done better if he. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, it's not the agent; it's up to the player. He wanted to stay. He wanted to get it done this offseason. He said last week, he's like, "Yeah, I'm hoping to get something done before the season starts."
How often do people say that and it's not really true? You know what I mean?
With this kid, it was. He's a straight shooter. I mean, I like Mat Barzal. I tell you what, he wears his heart on his sleeve. Yeah, he can get a little feisty at times, get a little fired up. I like that. I like a guy who I know how he feels when I look at him. You can tell when he's pissed. You can tell when he's happy. He's not like Stoneface out there.
Who's Stoneface, Grumpy? Tell me.
Hey, it could be anybody.
Are you making reference to John Tavares?
John Tavares or
Stoneface is saying, well, let me ask you that. What the hell is an Easter egg on the Easter egg island with those freaking what the hell are those things called? Those big old the big old
I know I don't know what they're called. Yes, I know.
Man, I need one of our very distinguished gentlemen or gentle ladies who listen to the show to give us that, because like that head hat thing that I couldn't tell you what it was for the real sheiks. The head hat. The head hat. John P had to tell me what the hell that head hat was called because I knew it wasn't a burqa. I couldn't tell you what the head hat was.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about now.
But now I need to know what those stone men are called there in Easter Island.
Not Stonehenge.
Oh, no. Stone men in Easter Island. I think it's Easter Island. What are they called?
Why don't you just type it in?
Oh my God. I cannot pronounce this. Moa? I don't know. Moa, the statue Moa.
What's it? MOA?
MOA. Yeah, Moa.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Here's our picture of a beloved Anders Lee. There's a few of them actually all over the place. I don't know why the hell we paid so much for him, because he seems to be quite frequent on this one area of the world.
There's plenty of them worth a lot. They're worth more than $7 million.
I was about to say. So is this what you're saying? Anders Lee's like Grumpy with the underbite?
Very much so. Tell me that doesn't look like him. There. That looks like him.
Oh man, there's a lot worse things you can be compared to. Hell, you can be compared to Banjo Boy.
I was going to bring up Banjo Boy. I think Banjo Boy's back in Bridgeport, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Matthew has said it's a great day and an outstanding contract.
100% agree, Matthew.
Mr. B says, over his career, will Mat Barzal outperform and out-earn John Tavares?
I don't think he'll outperform him.
Really?
Tavares put up good numbers and he's playing Toronto the last couple of years. He's been really good from Jump Street. At the end of the day, John Tavares will have more points than Mat Barzal just because he's been shackled. We still don't know what the system is going to be like here, but he's playing with way better players up in Toronto than Mat Barzal has right now. Will he out-earn him? I don't know about that either. I mean, he's going to get another bite at the apple, a big bite. So potentially he could be. He makes less than Tavares now, though, even on the extension.
And Dan L says, yeah, definitely a good contract. I was thinking around $9 million AAV, not going to sweat over the 150K.
You know what the baby said? He's like, Dad, you said that $9 million was it. And now you're saying you're not going to sweat over the 0.15. What the baby's saying.
Becker Supply Company says, TJ's got the guns out. I know. Thank you. Frank saying, I was ecstatic about Matty Barzal.
Yeah.
And he says, LOL, the black tea wife beater, TJ. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Frank. I know Frank always striving me to dress more professionally on the show, but Frank, sorry, didn't have
Even
time to get
semi-professional would be nice. Not like a rank amateur.
Not like an amateur. And Becker Supply Company says, Barzal signing should attract other players in the offseason and potential trades being locked in long term.
Hopefully. That's what we're hoping.
D-Cut says, fire TJ, hire D-Cut. He brings eyeballs to the show. There it is, D-Cut. Dan L also says, the one thing I'm somewhat surprised by is we all seem to agree that this team is more offense. More offense. Lou did nothing. I guess Barzal is satisfied with what they're doing as an organization.
I think he just hated Trotz so much.
You think he wanted to stay here, but did not want to be involved with Trotz?
Yeah. And here's the thing. No one who comes here really wants to leave, except for Tavares.
Yeah, that's true.
None of them really want to leave. That's why they sign ridiculous contracts. And that's why Lamoriello sells them to ridiculous long-term deals when they shouldn't, honestly. It's like they want to stay. It's a great group of guys. I mean, they're just not winners. We need to get some fresh blood in there.
Yeah, I'm excited about the signing though. I mean, it's
my.
great. I'm so happy. Honestly, I was working today and I saw I was getting a million updates. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, yes, it's great. There's nothing better than when you look down at your phone, you're like, Mat Barzal signed long term.
Fantastic.
Oh man.
On a great deal too. It's not like you paid him $11 million per.
Frank Hayes got a comment. He says, the team looks so slow. Essentially, they're going to waste at least half of Barzal's contract on deadbeats. This should be Lou's last transaction. We need a fresh face at general manager. It's enough. I do think we need another fresh face. Absolutely.
True. Someone who goes to Mat Barzal and says, hey, we want you to be successful here. We want you to go to the next level. We want input from you on who you think you would play well with. I think players love that when they think they're part of the process.
And they think they're valued. It's like the same thing with employees. If you feel, and here's the thing, even if they aren't listening to you, if you feel like management or your boss legitimately is listening to you, even if they're not, they're putting on a facade that they are, it makes you feel valued. It makes you feel like, okay, my input is important here. Yep. I feel like, I'm not just freaking spinning the tires.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm looking at player X, player Y, player Z. All right, let's see if we can do something. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen, but we're going to start kicking the tires because guess what? If you're successful, we're going to be successful. It's like a partnership. And I think players love that. And you know what? You're allowed to grow your freaking beard out if you want.
Yeah. D-Cut says, good time to dump Lou. I don't disagree, but it's just like, it's tough to do when you're like, oh, great. Lou, because this is a great signing by Lou Lamoriello. I think he's done a lot of egregious things in his time here. This is one of the few good ones. We've talked about the good things he's done. This adds to the list of the good positives that Lou's done.
This might be number 2.
I'd say probably number 3.
Okay.
The way I look at it, Trotz was number 1, Sorokin number 2. Okay. Mat Barzal number 3. Okay. Because Sorokin, I don't think was ever coming over here unless we had a legitimate GM and I think a legitimate coach. So I think from non-Sorokin to Sorokin, number 2, and Mat Barzal. This is a really, really solid. There have been a lot of solids. There have also been a lot of negatives. So, he's done. There's some goods with the bads.
I think that's fair.
Absolutely. Got a comment here from Bucket Supply Company or Becker Supply Company saying Matt Martin just took the face off on the power play. Oh, shit. Scott L saying Visa Bailey just scored to tie the game at 2.
We saw it. It wasn't even his goal. What a cheater.
And holy Christ, Bailey just scored. I figured you like that. Yep. Becker says the Grumpy Old Man's bestie just scored a power play goal, and Grumpy Princess Bailey just scored. I like that one. Princess Bailey. Landon Islander says Bailey scored. He's a legend now. But when it's the regular season, it looks like you're tossing a blind Chara on the ice. Oh God. Goon says the Mets hitting 3 home runs in a row. The leadoff game too. Too bad they couldn't fart out a few more measly runs over last weekend's massacre.
They hope to be getting Sterling Marte back by the playoff on Friday.
Thank God.
They miss him.
And Michael T says, "Come on, Grump. Half of us had Barzal already gone."
I didn't.
You were worried.
I was concerned because until you lock a guy up, there's always that concern, particularly with the history of, big time free agents. I mean, with all respect to Pellick and Pulak and Lee and Nelson, Eberle, they're not top level players that everyone's clamoring for. This kid's the face of the franchise.
He is.
Give him the C. You know what? Anders Lee should get down, throw himself under the sword, and just say, "Here you go. Here's the C. I give it to you, Matty B."
Here's the C. I give it to you, Matty B. Michael B says, "Good job, Lou. Congratulations, Barzy. 3 years from now, Chris Lamoriello will allot cap to load up. We'll have a lot of cap to load up on role players. Lock in frustrating mediocrity, but at least our man Barzy will net the C on his chest."
That should happen sooner rather than later.
I agree.
It's not going to happen this year, but they certainly, starting next year, they should do that.
Their latest time frame started next season. Mat Barzal's the captain.
Yep.
Scott L says they should take the C off of Lee and give it to Barzal. I could not agree more. Scott L could not agree more. D-Cut says TJ throwing another millennial hissy fit.
That's probably when you were attacking me for not wanting to change my last year's grade on.
You would not give me a straight answer until you came up with that bullshit. Well, the term papers are turned in, and I laughed my ass off because I'm like, it's funny. It's like you do not like to change your freaking agenda, Grumpy.
Has nothing to do with an agenda. The off season was over.
Yeah, okay. Now you come up with those quick worded items. Oh man. Got a comment here from Ariel C saying Lou will be gone after this year. We'll have a new general manager that gets Barzal what he needs. And it was a huge that he signed a long-term contract. A great move for the marketing aspect. Absolutely.
Agree.
Absolutely. Michael T says, wait, so we signed Barzal to an 8-year contract and Grumpy Old Man's not happy? Yeah, Grumpy Old Man's angry.
I'm ecstatic. I think it's great. I see you trying to paint it as being something negative. I told you, this is not a negative podcast at all.
I
just didn't want to change my last year's off-season grade for him. Doesn't happen like that. I mean, here's the thing. I think it's great. There's no downside to this. Absolutely none. None. Zero. Nada. Nothing. No downside to this contract extension. Not one.
Absolutely. Thomas Amadeo says, I agree with Grump. Going into the season, our position is still the same. No improvement in the short, but we did address a major issue we would have had in the long term.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't really affect this year at all. Right? Does this affect this year at all?
Yes,
no,
I think it does.
No, it doesn't.
It gives us flexibility.
No, it doesn't. It gives us no flexibility.
You don't think this gives us flexibility?
No, it doesn't. This contract doesn't even kick in till next year. Everything is the same for this year.
It gives us flexibility. If we were to let's say things go bad and we start selling everything off. You said it was going to be a harder sell to keep Mat Barzal here. Since Mat Barzal signed long term, it gives us more flexibility where you could sell off those pieces if we're a cellar dweller and you don't have to worry about him jumping ship. He's on the contract for the next 8 seasons.
No, see, you're so negative. I think we're going to win the cup this year, and then it doesn't matter, right?
Oh my God. Stop. Thomas Amadeo says Grump is right. Off-season opinion is the same.
There you go.
Okay. Drill said it seems like with Lane, the offense is more balanced and kind of run and gunnish.
That means our defense is going to have to be rock solid back there. Grant Hutton was playing today with Adam
28.
I'm sorry?
28. Is Grant Hutton 28?
He's number 7. 28 is Aho. Aho was also playing today.
Dude, Aho made a huge defensive mistake. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, who is this?
The first goal was Anthony Beauvillier making a terrible mistake. Two of them. First, he makes a bad pass on a power play into Nelson's skates. Then Dobson's coming back, and I think he trips Dobson, and it led to a goal from that Scott Lawton piece of shit. I don't think he scores any goals except for against us.
And I'll tell you,
but Sorokin looked good early today.
He did. I like the way Sorokin is. Michael T says Grumpy is forcibly sticking to his grumpy agenda. I agree, Michael T. I agree. Stick to the grumpy agenda. Jeremy Ford says, does signing Mat Barzal long-term help with bringing in outside talent? Barzal, Nelson, Pajot, Cizikas, Dobson, Pelech, Pulak, Romanov, Sorokin is a solid core down the middle in the top four and goalie.
I think some of those guys need to get moved out.
Thomas also agrees. I'm with Grumpy on Barzal, no question. Xpun 3414 says, I'm with Grumpy on Barzal. Give him the C. Drew L says, by the way, I'm getting an Islanders fisherman jersey.
Yeah. I love the fisherman jersey.
I almost want to get one so I can go ahead and start wearing it on the podcast.
You should.
Dude, you know what? Okay, I haven't bought a lot of things recently, like items that I wanted to buy. So I don't wear cologne often, Grump. This is a weird conversation. I don't wear cologne often. Oh, but I went to go, I was like, okay, I had some cologne since high school, Grump, that I had bought at the mall at high school. I went to go find that cologne online. I remember paying like $30 for it when I was in high school. Do you want to take a guess how expensive that same cologne that cost me $30 in high school was last evening when I looked it up online? Just take a guess. $30 about like when I was in high school, Grump.
50 cents. I have no idea.
$200. $200 fucking dollars for freaking smells. I said no. I said I can't justify that. Even though I like the smell, I'll get a different smell. $200? Are you kidding me?
If you like the smell and it works for you, why wouldn't you get it? You're not supposed to put it on like it's freaking
$200.
You're not supposed to put it like you're showering in it, you know.
I just can't justify $200, man.
Oh my God. You and the warden.
Frank says, yes, Grumpy Old Man. So wait for the 2 years. Lee is better than you give him credit for. Plus, we're stuck with him. And Brock is my man. Someone send TJ that YouTube of Brock killing it in the playoffs so he can play it for the Grumpy Old Man.
Hey, Brock Nelson's going to take a step back this year. You're probably going to get similar production out of Anders Lee. And by the way, the second line was Nelson, Lee, and Beauvillier. Okay. I mean, I guess that tells you what the first line is going to be, right? Where does Wahlstrom fit? I don't know. Is it going to be Wahlstrom or Bellows sitting, or is it going to be Bailey? JG Pajot, I like him. I think he helps cover up for mistakes of the younger players, but I don't think you put Bellows, Wahlstrom, and both of them with Pajot. I think that's a mistake. We're going to find out. I don't know. Ross Johnson played today. Beat the hell out of some useless Flyers scum.
Yeah. Grumpy, you love the Flyers, don't you?
Hate the Flyers. Hate the Flyers. Hate the Flyers. There is no team in sports I hate more than the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, man.
None.
I tell you. Jeremy Ford says here, one of Nelson or Pajot needs to be moved out once Ratu is ready. Moving on from Bailey, Clutterbuck, Martin, and Parise to make room for Bellows, Wahlstrom, and UFA signings is the next step.
Here's the thing about Jeremy. He's always so intelligent with his observations and his questions.
That's what I think. That's what I think Lou Lamoriello is going to do. So that's right, Grumpy. I'm feeling somewhat optimistic that here's the thing. The only point of optimism I have from this offseason is we didn't sign anybody old to a long-term contract.
Yep.
We got the important pieces. I maybe would have liked a longer-term deal for Dobson, but we got a very important piece signed long-term, and we brought in a young piece that could be here long-term. So those are two pluses. We did not address the need for more offense, which is an issue, but we did address concerns and needs to help the team long-term. And that's the big important thing. We've talked about it. We're not going to win the Stanley Cup probably this next year, guys. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. Don't go with the expectation that we're winning. It's not Stanley Cup or bust like it was last season per se.
Ugh. Maybe they just kept their mouths shut.
Right. But I mean, like that was seriously, we talked about it. That was the expectation going in last season. Before they even came out and said it, we said it's got to be Stanley Cup or bust, right? Back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. You have to at least make the cup next year, right?
Got to at least make the playoffs.
My God. Joseph C saying, just a reminder, it is an 8:30 start time tomorrow. He says, it's TJ time. Don't lie, TJ. No, it's an 8:30 start time. It's an 8:30 start time. Thomas Amadeo says, Grumpy is right. Doing the signing earlier might have enticed a bigger name to reconsider coming to the island.
Maybe.
Frank says, I love Pajot, but he's like my Nissan Titan. He runs great, but in rough shape with 362,000 miles on it.
Yeah. True.
Oh, man, I love that, Frank. Becker Supply Company says, at least Parise plays harder than over half the team.
Easier to play like that when your minutes are cut back a little bit as well. If he's playing on the first line, he's going to have to skate, at least 3 more minutes a night?
I would agree.
I mean, all right, let's be honest. It's not optimal having a 38-year-old on your first line who's just, he just is what he is at this point. Let's be honest. On a good team, he's a third liner. On a good team, third liner.
And I think too, right? I think it's an apt point. We've brought it up. The more time you're going to play, the tougher it's going to be to still maintain that same exact gusto and the same exact aggression, shift in and shift out. I want to know what Becker Supply Company is. I like the logo. I don't know what they do, but I like the logo, whoever that is. Becker Supply Company. Logo looks on point. Frank K says, Barzal took a shot at Trotz for sure.
Well, maybe not.
Oh, look at you, Grumpy. Drew L says, the reason why Grumpy won't get hired for the Islanders is because he calls UBS Arena USB. Grumpy, that's the reason why you haven't gotten a call. If you commit to UBS, you're good, or USB, or UBS. You're screwing me up, Grumpy, with this, how you always mess it up. But if you commit to UBS Arena, you're good.
Well, like I said, you can teach an old dog new tricks. I could certainly learn how to do that correctly.
Okay. You heard that, Islanders organization.
I think they're scared of what I might say.
What did they think you were going to say?
That's Grumpy? What they I won't be blowing sunshine up people's asses all the time.
Yeah, you'd be gone pretty quick. Goon says, now that Barzal is signed long-term, will average Andrews become anxious Andrews about the potential captaincy change?
I hope so. I just want him to get right in public. We're taking the C off you, average. Giving it to Matty B. Strip him of the C.
Michael T says Barzal needs to marry a girl he meets at Oyster Bay Oyster Festival. He's got that a Jewish girl that he met that loves Long Island. He's going to be here long term. So Becker Supply Company also says Anders won't get stripped of the captaincy unless the Islanders tank the next couple of years. I seriously could see if Mat Barzal comes out and proves it next year, I could see him winning the captain next year. I really can. If he scored, let's say he puts up 80 points. And he leads the team. I could see him getting the captaincy next season.
He should get it regardless. And here's the thing. It's not going to take 2 years of playing poorly. If they play poorly this year, all bets are off on who's back next year. You're going to see your young core, but you know who's not part of the core? Anders Lee, Josh Bailey, Brock Nelson won't be part of the core. Anybody who's in their 30s is not J.G. Pajot. They're not going to be part of the core. The fourth line. No. Got to move on from those guys. You don't make the playoffs 2 years in a row. You got to change things up.
And Gungun says, who here agrees the Islanders should replace their old man with the grumpy old man? That's right. Should they replace Butch Goring with the grumpy old man? I'm not sure you can provide the same stories that Butch Goring does, but I can tell you you'll probably be a lot funnier and you'll probably get canceled off TV.
I'll tell you what. Here's one thing that you don't see from Butch Goring.
What's that?
Today, I was watching, was the Philadelphia Flyers broadcast, and I don't know who, maybe it was Keith Jones, who was saying this guy Allred got beat up by Ross Johnson. Not that bad. His face was all a little puffy and stuff, and he's said how this guy was a hero for fighting Ross Johnston. I'm like, a hero? He got the shit kicked out of him.
He stood up to Ross Johnston, and that is a
hero.
Herculean move all in itself, Grumpy, because that's the reputation
You don't hear
Ross
that.
Johnston has.
You don't hear that from Butch Goring. You don't hear that ridiculous diatribe from Butch Goring.
He's got to find something to be very excited about, that somebody would even step in and engage in fisticuffs with
All
Ross
these
Johnston.
company cows. Ugh.
Michael T said, then he has to name his firstborn children, Nystrom and Gillies. Oh, could you imagine that? Michael W says, solid job by Lou. Barzal, under $10 million contract AAV, long-term, should age really well. Players will be getting 12 plus million as salaries increase.
That's right. This is going to be a bargain deal in the next 3 years. A bargain deal.
I agree, man.
It doesn't even kick in it kicks in after this year, right? It kicks in after this year. So, I mean, it doesn't even kick in until next year. That's a bargain.
Absolutely. Pac-Man says, maybe the Islander fans will get past their PTSD of Tavares leaving. Perhaps. I think this definitely helps.
It never bothered me that he left. Never.
It bothered me we didn't get anything for him. Damn it, don't bring me down this freaking rabbit hole again, Grumpy. We're wrapping things up. We got a few more comments. Jeremy Ford says Sorokin and Varlamov make $4 million and $5 million respectively. Next year, Sorokin $4 million. Varlamov, I would give $2 million if signed back, save $3 million. Bailey, Clutterbuck, and Martin come off the books when Sorokin's next contract comes up.
Varlamov should be gone. They're not bringing him back. He needs to be traded. Move him at the deadline.
I agree.
Get assets for him.
Maybe you could sign it back as an unrestricted free agent, but no, he will get a starting role somewhere else but the Islanders.
Move him. He has to be moved at the deadline. Has to be. No way you re-sign him. No way. He's not going to want to take a $3 million a year pay cut to be a backup. So you trade him. You trade him at the deadline. I don't care. Where do you say you don't want to go? We're going to send you there. Just waive that clause.
Got a comment here from Jewel saying Grumpy's favorite pissant is getting paid only $1.3 million less than Mat Barzal.
Think about that. The pissant's making way too much money.
Grumpy, who's the pissant?
You know who it is. Fiala.
Kevin Fiala. That's right. I wanted to make sure. D-Cut says TJ only wears sleeves on Wednesdays. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Maybe. Stephen S says the fact that I got to not only meet one, but two Blackhawks legends in Chris Chelios and Dennis Savard at the Deer District 3 hours before the game was incredible. I got to take a photo with them both and got to sign my Minnesota Wild hat. Although the Wild didn't blow out the Hawks like I wanted to, they did outshoot and dominated them from start to finish.
It's always nice to see. Here's the thing. Hockey players are probably the nicest of the pro athletes.
I would agree with that. And soccer players.
Okay. But certainly hockey players. And if you're looking at football players, offensive linemen, nice to a person. Every single one. Kickers, guys like that. They're not big names. Just happy people know who they are. Yeah.
Kickers. And especially that goggled bastard. What the hell is his name? Blankenship?
Unemployed, I think is what his name is.
Yeah. He's picking up the pink slip. Jeremy Ford says Nelson and Palmieri come off the books the next time Dobson and Romanoff are due contracts. The Islanders are in good shape going forward. They need some draft picks to set up and land an unrestricted free agent or two.
Exactly. It's these next 2 years where everyone's still under contract. That's a problem. That's why you got to try to start being creative, moving guys. Even if you got to move Pajot, even if you have to move Nelson, something to especially if we underperform this year and don't make playoffs, then it's like, okay, who can we move? We know we're stuck with Anders Lee. We're stuck with Bailey. Certain guys we're stuck with, but we have guys on this team who have value, and we're going to have to start moving them to, advance the rebuild process. Then I'm going to be happy as shit. Happy as a pig in shit.
He's going to be in euphoric. He's going to be in a euphoric
Absolutely. State. Man, I love draft time. It's my favorite time of the year.
Oh man, oh man. Got a comment here from Stephen S. also saying, well, Sunday's NHL game in my hometown of Milwaukee absolutely blew my expectations out of the water. It was a fantastic experience from start to finish. I hope this convinces the NHL to come here.
It will not.
It probably won't, man. Sorry, Steven. Sean A says, Lou is a genius. He added a hard-hitting defenseman and signed our cornerstone piece to a long-term future. If we sign Sorokin long-term, our future is set, and he didn't overpay on free agents.
Well,
Genius.
it's tough. It's tough not to overpay on free agents when you don't sign any. Now, tell me Johnny Gaudreau wasn't a steal at 9.75 a year. That's a steal for him.
I think so.
That's a steal for him.
Absolutely. Especially, I know he's a little older, but the way the cap increases, I think that's a steal.
It is. And he's a guy who's going to age well with his skill set.
Think about it. Johnny Gaudreau makes significantly because Patrick Kane, how much did Patrick Kane make? Did he make 10 million?
I think 11.
Okay. Think about Patrick Kane when he signed that contract too. How many years ago was that contract signed? Like 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago?
He and Taves signed them the same year.
Yep.
And Taves, because they're two different type of players, Kane.
He's looking old as hell, Taves is, but Kane is still playing at a really high level.
Because it's the type of game they play. I mean, Taves is more of a blood and guts type guy, where Kane is, he's a skater. Those guys last longer. The guys who have high-end skill as opposed to grinder types, they age better. They just do.
And got here comment from John P saying, hello, gents, 2-1 Islanders. Josh Bailey with a goal and assist. Holy shit, Grumpy.
Probably secondary assist. And a goal, that's not even really his goal. That's a typical Josh Bailey goal, right? It was in the net, and he's, I'm going to poke it in there. Yeah, look at me, Josh Bailey. Ah.
Alex H says, I'm willing to bet if Trotz was still here, Barzal would have never signed the extension.
I think it would have come into question. I think it would have come into question.
Joe says, nothing negative about the signing. The guy scored 15 goals. He only does one thing great, skating. He's not a sniper. He's not a finisher, and he's terrible in shootouts. Well, he's also a great distributor of the puck and playmaker. I think he skates well. He's a playmaker. He distributes the puck. Great at passing. Great vision. Great hands. Does he shoot? He shoots the puck actually well. He just doesn't shoot enough.
He just doesn't shoot enough. Here's the thing. That's why he needs to play with a sniper. I mean, man, I would have loved to see him with Gaudreau and Wahlstrom on the wings. Oh, my God. Wahlstrom probably would have had 50, at least 40 goals with those two guys. Oh, jeez.
Got a comment here from Brian J saying, well, guys, at least Barzal is the real deal. He kept his word.
There you go.
Amen to that. Amen to that. It's nice to see that. Joe says a 2-1 lead turns into a 3-2 deficit. Soroka may be more overrated. Most overrated Islander of all time, I think is what he meant to say.
I'm going to watch the rest of that game after this show is over.
I couldn't even tell you what occurred, but I'm not blaming. I could just tell you based off of what I know from Sorokin. He's not the guy to blame if I'm just going out on a limb.
Can I just say one thing? It's a little bit off topic. The hero of the people, Tom Brady, has decided to dump that harpy Giselle. Getting divorced. Yeah. Good for you, TB12.
Giselle hired a divorce attorney. So did Tom Brady.
I hope Brady takes her to the cleaners.
Oh, my God.
She's worth more than he is.
Brian B says, great to see Barzal signed. Still needs a winger, though.
At least one winger. Probably two.
Christopher C said, Grumpy, don't you think 8 years is too much? By the end of the contract, he'll be the age that you hate the most, 30s.
Okay, but he's not signing the contract extension when he's 33. See, that's the difference. You're getting him through all of his peak years, all of them. And he's a guy who's going to age well as well. This type of player ages very well.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. The fact I don't want you to sign a guy to an 8-year deal when he's 30, that's just dumb. But at 25, absolutely, I'm all for it. 100%, 200%.
Deidre C said, I care about the real season, not preseason, but time to put up or shut up with this team.
Nice to see Deirdre back in the fold. It's been quite a while since we heard from her.
Nice to see Deidre. Stephen S. said, based on how I saw the Blackhawks play Sunday night, at least the Islanders aren't worse than them. Also, happy to see the Hawks fans haven't changed. Guy behind us dropped every cuss word in the book.
Yeah, I tell you what. You know what song I hate the most of all? Hopefully, we won't have to hear too much of that this year.
Oh, good gracious. Nick D says, TJ Grump, how you doing tonight? Doing well, Nick D. Hopefully you are too. Says, great signing today. Now all Lou has to do is step aside and get a young go-getter general manager to change the culture.
True.
Joe says Barzal was invisible 80% of the time last year. He better play up to his contract. Damn, Joe is just being a little negative of Matty B.
We have been nothing but positive all day today.
I'm telling you, some people do not like Mat Barzal. They do not like the contract he signed. They don't think it's valuable. They don't think he's earned that. I think he has. I like what I've seen from him. I really do. I'm very optimistic that with a team that is more offensive minded, with more instinctual, less structure based, and if he had wingers aside him, he would put up video game ass numbers. It's that simple. I really do believe it. Yeah. Nick, he also says Kyle Dubas could be available after the first round of next year's playoffs. Oh shit. Saying he might be getting knocked out of the first round of the playoffs.
Is he that good? I don't know.
What?
He's okay. I'm looking at other guys though.
We need a young guy. That's for freaking certain.
Well, Dubas is young. I don't think Toronto's going to let him go.
I think they don't get knocked out of the first round of the playoffs.
I agree.
I think the team's built well. Veritas Invicta says, what a day. Judge hits 62. Islanders sign Barzy long-term. Yankees, Giants, and Islanders. Let's go. Ariel C says, should have had Phil Specs on here tonight to get his take. Well, I think it's a holiday. I think it's a Jewish holiday right now or something like that. So I don't know. I think Steven had also mentioned that too with me. That's why we're running a little later in the evening tomorrow. But I think maybe Phil was at holiday or events or items like that. We did reach out to him, but I assume he's at a holiday. Frank says, I'm now convinced they fired Barry because Barzy said he wouldn't stay here if Trotz was there.
We opined on that quite a while ago, didn't we? Like 2 years ago?
Yes, we did. And hey, here's the thing. A guest on our show mentioned this 2 years ago too. And he was one of the first people to say this, and he's true and absolutely accurate on this one. Coach Tommy B said that if it was between Mat Barzal and Barry Trotz, Mat Barzal would win. Do you remember that conversation 2 years ago? He said that verbatim on our show.
I do remember that. Yes.
Absolutely. The garbage man was reading through the notes of Lou Lamoriello. He grabbed this one off the table, too. He flipped through the journal and flipped it out. Oh, my God. Mat Barzal or Barry. He had Mat Barzal with a little greater than Barry Trotz on. He put a whole bunch of circles around Matty B. So he knew it. The man with the inside hand, Coach Tommy B, knew that. We talked about it 2 years ago. He had mentioned that, too, with us on the show. So always give credit where credit's due. What a Film said, hi, Grumpy and Muscle Man. Hallelujah. Barzal is an Islander. What's up, Sean? How are you, my friend? Frank says, I was watching that Barstool Golf with the Islanders players. Lee looks like a solid muscle man. I was surprised. He's
Let me tell you something. All hockey players are in shape. All of them.
They said something. Hold on a second. And I wanted to try to save this till later, but Mike M sent this to us. I'll let you listen to it. Hold on a second, Grumpy. Hold on a second. Oh my God. Do you know? Hold on a second. I'm not even going to say anything. I'll let you watch it. I don't know if you can read can you read that closed caption, what it says down there? You move it. Hold on a second.
You have the thing. The guy's like a hentai character.
Do you remember what a hentai character is, Grumpy?
Yes, I do.
A hentai character. Sonic the Hedgehog stunt double.
How'd you look in the top of your club there? You look pretty good.
Oh, dude, your hair looked really good. Yeah. Stiff breeze will blow them away, dude. The thing's like a sail. It's like get out of the shower, throw some gel in there, and then hammer it with a blow dryer. No, it was a spray this morning.
Spray?
Yeah. Windows down.
The air doesn't blow down.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all natural. The hentai character. Sonic the Hedgehog.
The guy's a hentai character, Sonic the Hedgehog. I love seeing that type of that type of interaction always between the guys. That's always funny stuff. I figured hentai character, Grumpy. I'm glad you finally know what that is now.
Yes, I do.
Yep.
I learned the hard way.
Did you Google search it or something, Grumpy? Is that what you mean by learned it the hard way?
No.
Oh,
Evo Pivo.
Oh yeah, Evo Pivo says, I wish it was more like 8 years, 8 million with tons of bonus incentives.
Yeah, that's not the way those contracts are done.
Oh man. Yeah, I was about to say he was going to earn it whether he liked it or not. And then Jeremy Ford says, I say we hang on to Varlamov unless some top team loses their goalie and is desperate. You could try to land a first rounder or a prospect who can step in next year, similar to Aatu Ratu's caliber.
You move him at the deadline regardless. Even if you have to move him in December. Whenever you can get something of value for him, you move him. He's not coming back next year. You move him.
Absolutely. You got to be proactive moving him. I think he will be a starter. I think he won't take $2 million. I think Varlamov could still earn a 4.5. Think about when we signed Varlamov. We said, my God, we overpaid for him. His numbers in Colorado were pedestrian at best when he was there. He was kind of like they didn't want him back. We overpaid him at that time period, but what the performances he's had with the Islanders since signing here have been he's more than earned his contract on a year in year out basis. I think he would get around the same contract or the same exact amount that he got with us. He would get out in the open market again, even though he's older too.
At 35, 36 years old? Oh, I don't know about that.
On a 1-year contract, you don't think he can get himself a 1 year or 2 year contract? You don't think he can get himself around a $5 million deal?
Oh, I thought you said like the same contract, like
no,
5
not like term. I'm sorry, not term. I'm talking about the same AAV. I think he can get a very same or similar AAV. He'll definitely make more than it depends. Does he want to stay here, take a hometown discount for us, or does he want to say, I want to go someplace else?
$2 million. I'd move him.
I think he'll want more than $2 million though.
Well, you know what? That I'd move him. I say, think about us when free agency comes. That's what I'd say. But just be realistic. You'd have to take a pay cut. It's about the future. He's not the future of the team. He's a backup goalie. You don't go out of your way to sign a backup goalie. No way. You move him. You get a first round pick if you can, a second round pick if you have to, or a prospect. That's fine. And then, hey, keep in touch with us. Just let him know these are the facts. You're the backup. This is what we're paying backups now. If he wants to come back, he can come back. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Frank says, I asked you guys if Barzal would give a deal of like 8 million or 9 million per, and Tease and the Crow Man didn't think so, but I knew Barzal would help us out. Here's the thing. I really was worried. We looked at it from a logical standpoint and said, yeah, I hear all these conversations. Yeah, he's got the girl, he's got his Long Island gal over there, but we haven't done anything to improve or put the right pieces around him. I think he took a hometown discount to stay with us, and I'm happy about it. You can't find anything to complain about today. It's a great day. Great day for us Islander fans. Absolutely, Frank. What a film saying, I remember that the boys were expecting a short contract. We really were. I thought maybe if he signed a 1-year deal, I'm like, we need to look to trade him immediately if we don't sign a long-term contract.
Right. Correct.
Tony Cheese said Easter Egg Island. I don't remember what is it. Is it Easter Island? Tony Cheese, I couldn't tell you.
It's Easter Island, not Easter.
I like
Island.
Easter Egg.
Did you call it Easter Egg Island?
I think I did. Matthew S. said D-Cut would have a stroke. Yeah, he probably would have had a stroke at that moment. Easter Egg Island. Jeremy Ford said, how come Ishikov isn't playing in any of the exhibition games?
Because he's not going to make the big team.
Yeah, I mean, Ishikov has no chance at all to ever play with us. A small, undersized guy who, he skates well, but not well enough to make up for his lack of size at the end.
More quick than fast.
Exactly. What a film saying, I'm still hanging my Bailey jersey on the wall. I'm hoping he surprises us with a solid season. Right, Grumpy?
That would be a surprise.
Oh, man.
You know what would have surprised me if he had a good season just in time to try to renegotiate that contract?
Oh, good gracious, good gracious.
I tell you what, if they resign Josh Bailey, that's a day for an emergency podcast, and that won't be positive like this one.
Oh God Almighty, dude! If we honestly, I wish we did just to see the reaction, just to see your freaking reaction.
No,
I hope, dude. I'd have to worry about it and be like, Grumpy, do you have any heart medicine?
No.
Yes, I do. Grumpy, I want you to sit down on the couch really quickly. How many pills does it tell you to take a day? 2.
Let me
I
tell you
want
something.
To go ahead and take 16 of those really quickly.
Let
I
me
need
tell
you
you
to take
something.
your entire week's allocation today.
Let me tell you something.
Uh-huh.
I'd probably be spitting plaque from my arteries out of my mouth if they resign that piece of shit back.
Holy crap. I go ahead and hit you with a little air bubble in your heart, something like that. Maybe it would be easier for you. Oh my God. Ariel C said, I would like to see Shushnikov. Hopefully I'll maybe get that right. Shushnikov in Bailey's spot. He looks good. I think
Why
so.
not?
He's quicker. I know
Why
Bailey
not?
had a goal and assist. He had that fantastic hard-nosed goal today. But he's a better skater than Bailey. I think he's got an okay shot too. He's got a better shot than Bailey. He shows a little bit of hustle.
I like what Shestakov has done so far. I like him. Give him a shot. Why not?
It doesn't tell you how shitty of a contract that bastard Bailey has got. You could be replaced by Streety free agent Shushnikov.
Streety
free agent Shushnikov. Streety Shushnikov.
Let me tell you something. I'd love for that kid to be a success.
You and me both. Ariel, he's just the crappy part about it is he is just another example of a bottom 6 forward that our team lies rife with. I tell you, that's the issue, Grump. Ariel C says Tavares is overpaid, in my opinion. He'll be overpaid towards the tail end of that contract. Absolutely.
I think he's done okay with that deal. He's not been poor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Got a comment here from Ariel C also saying, Grumpy should have worn his Maddie in the Jag shirt for tonight. It would have been fitting. Damn, that's right. We should have got the Maddie in the Jag shirt, Grumpy. Hold on, do you have a Maddie in the Jag shirt?
I do not.
Okay. We got to get a Maddie in the Jag shirt going on too. I know. Ariel also says, if the Leafs get bumped in the first round again, Dubas is done. I could see our owners going for him, and Pasternak is going to come here next year. Of course, Grumpy.
I'm not a fan of his. I think in big games he kind of disappears. And I don't think he's going to stay in Boston. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Frank says here, well, think about it like this. We think guys are going to leave Boston. How many talented players have left Boston?
None.
In recent years. None is right. You've got Bergeron coming back. I mean, like, I will be interested to see what Nick Backstrom has left in the tank. You know what I mean?
Well, you mean for Washington?
Yeah, I'm just talking about the teams in the conference.
Yeah.
I mean, like Boston's a team, right? You could say it seems like big core pieces of their team get older, but they have other players that are young that might be able to offset it if they take a step forward. What are you going to see out of Jake DeBrusk? There's a lot of that type of stuff. You know, like Boston, I feel like they're safely in a playoff picture. I mean, like we've talked about it before. I know, right? Our preseason expectations. I think Washington. If the Islanders have a chance to jump a team in the Metro, it's Washington.
Yes, I agree.
Frank says it probably was the owners, not Lou, that made him sign him. Dimitri P says, honestly, I love Aho. I just wish he could play defense. Yeah, man, I'm done with Aho. He's a number 7.
He's a number 7 D-man, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I mean, you know, he is what he is at this stage of his career. He's smallish, not physical enough. Move the puck, though.
What a film saying here. Yeah, we can't forget how much the owners have done for this team. It isn't all Lou. Yeah, the owners, the Property Brothers. Ledecky and Malkin, Grumpy, your favorites. The Property Brothers. I got to sell the team. I got to get Tommy B back. I got to get Tommy. Me and Tommy B have to be on a show, just one show together. 30 minutes ahead start. We've got to say, Grumpy, we're going on at 8, and I got to get there early at 7:30. Just me and Tommy B going on for 30 minutes. We're probably going to be at that point saying, yeah, they're going to disband the league. I like that. I like that talk. James F. saying, Dobson with the overtime goal.
You know the best thing about that?
What's that?
Beat those scummy Flyers.
Yeah, both times, right? It's only preseason. Ariel C says, do you think this changes free agents coming here now? Well, I think it helps, but
I think it helps. I think it helps.
yeah, it helps, right? We've got the state-of-the-art arena. We've got the legitimate general manager, the coaching. Hey, we've got a legitimate coach. We're a legitimate team. And if you're going to play more offensive-minded, I think it's easier to attract players to a more offensive-minded team than it is to say, hey, let's slog it out and play a defensive battle.
True.
So, but again, I still think it's going to be similar. Don't expect Barry Trotz and Lane Lambert to be like, hey, one's felt and one's leather. It's going to be like one's felt and one's cloth. Oh shit, that doesn't really make sense. one's like when you're making, what is that, Grumpy? When you're making the like when they do like the thread count. One's 800 thread count and one's 900 thread count. It's really close. It's from the same shit. Frank, sorry, what can I say? I worked at Bed Bath & Beyond for 3 months. I thought I could incorporate it. I missed. What can I say? Frank says, I guaranteed you guys were making the playoffs. I'm a man of my word. I can feel it. Yeah, Barzal and Judge night, baby.
We'll see.
Also, signing Barzal, I think, means that Bavillier stays an Islander for his career too. They're too close.
You know what? I'm not opposed to moving him.
Holy shit! Was it that bad defensive play said bye bye Bavillier?
Yeah.
Oh, shut the fuck up! That one defensive play made you so disgusted in the preseason.
It was on the power play. It was on the power play.
I know it
passed, and then he tripped Dobson. Yeah.
Bye Bavillier. That's all it took was one bad play in preseason. Now you want to say goodbye.
If our season goes in the crapper,
wow,
I'm not opposed to moving. He's not a core piece for me. He's not a core piece. A guy who's really a third liner is not a core piece. So I'm willing to move him if the price is right. Now, here's the thing. I'm not moving him for a 4th round pick or something like that. But if you can get something of real value for him, and that's if everything goes really bad. That's if things go really bad. Oh, TJ must have to go to the bathroom. That's okay. Now I'll take over the comments. We'll finish them all up real quick. Bellows with an assist. He probably should have had a goal. 2 shots on goal. He also hit the pipe, which doesn't count. And 6 hits in 15-17 of ice time. Good night for Kiefer. That's right, Jeremy. Kiefer Bellows, watch out for him. Amory Pod says, Kiefer Bellows was everywhere tonight. He should be playing. Becker Supply Company says, you need cologne with that wife beater, TJ. 100% agree with that. But he's not going to. He wants to get some cheap-ass cologne, change something that he likes, and ostensibly, maybe the lovely Paige likes it too, but he's going to play it cheap. Sorry, can't do that. And then Jeremy says, Bailey with 1 goal, 2 assists. Bellows, you're off this Bridgeport, Siberia. Shouldn't be that way. I'd much rather have the younger guy playing over the older guy. Drew L says, TJ could get that Dr. Sasquatch soap bars off of Amazon. That probably make up for his lost cologne. Yikes. I don't even know what that is, but it doesn't sound appealing. Jeremy says, TJ, your shirt makes me laugh. Honking in Germany means throwing up. You've got to mess with that honk.
Hold on. Are you doing that shit where you read comments?
Absolutely. Joseph C. says, I wasn't expecting either the Mets or the Yankees to make the World Series. The Yankees will get to the ALCS, but I highly doubt they're going to beat the Astros. They will not. The Mets are going to have a hard time with the Braves or LA. That's true also.
When you read comments, Grumpy, do such a shitty job because you don't ever talk about the comment. You say, that's right. Okay, next one. Kiefer Bellows was everywhere tonight. That's right, Amari Prod. Becker Supply Company. You need cologne with that wife beater. Yes, he does. You know what, Grumpy? Sticking where the sun don't shine, okay?
Okay, here we go. Lou Rivera says, eat it, Grumpy's ham and egg sandwich.
Dude, hey, man, I could really go for a ham and egg sandwich right now. What's your favorite type of breakfast sandwich, Grumpy?
I don't. Bacon biscuit.
What?
Like a bacon biscuit. If I eat breakfast sandwich, it's like a McDonald's bacon biscuit. I like their.
Oh, dude, McDonald's. I can get a McDonald's bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Oh, buddy. Sometimes when they have like the pancake shit mixed in there with the syrup. Hey, I heard it's pretty low in calories too.
Okay. Jewel says,
Hold on. What do you think you're doing? Grump?
I'm
Just take
taking over the
over?
comments. I'm taking over the comments.
What a shitty job. Oh,
Drew says, Grumpy, it seems like you've recovered from my absolute spanking in fantasy football. That's true.
hold on, Drew. Was that why Grumpy was so upset Sunday evening when we started our podcast of TJ and the Grumpy Old Man? Was because you were whooping up on him in fantasy? Oh, now it makes sense.
I lost to him in week 1. I've won 3 straight weeks.
Oh, okay.
Joseph C says, sounds like Sonny Milano was going to be cut from his PTO by Calgary. Islanders should bring him home. If they weren't interested in him before, they're not interested in him now. Robert Conti says, since Trotz has left, Barzy has been a kid in a candy store. Was he given reassurance that Lou would pull the trigger sometime this year and get that sniper for number 13? I don't think so.
I was about to say, I think that's one step a little far, but hey, wouldn't it be nice?
He's just happy he got his bag today.
Oh man. THPN said, Barzal, getting that grumpy cat. Oh shit, getting a grumpy. I didn't know you were making that type of cash. Well, Mat Barzal Mat Barzal might have to reconsider what he's doing then.
Yeah,
if he's getting grumpy cash.
Mm-hmm.
And Grumpy Old Man, I like that Bailey impersonation. What was that Bailey impersonation, Grumpy? I want to see that again.
I don't remember.
I
don't remember. It could be
spontaneous. Joseph C says, maybe you'll get your wish, Grumpy Old Man, and Brady will play till 50 now that he's getting a divorce from Giselle.
And that harpy is, I mean, look how skinny he is. He's like, man, I can't eat with that heart. I mean, he eats all that healthy crap anyway. And he's like, man, that harpy is on my back all the time. Rah! Tommy, why have you not quit the football game?
Tommy.
Look at my massive man hands. Wouldn't you like them massaging your shoulders instead of you throwing the footballs to your little friends? I don't like it, Tommy. You need to quit. I don't care that you can only play for a few more years. I am Giselle, former runway model from Brazil. Screw her. You're gone.
D-Cut says, the lovely Paige hired a divorce attorney while the show was on. Oh man. I gotta get to work. They got a lot of work to do.
D-Cut, comment of the night. D-Cut, comment of the night.
Tony Chi saying, whoa, THPN in the house. Greg Frost saying, Dubas is an idiot. Man, I tell you, the results haven't been there in the postseason. I really do feel like it changes this year. And maybe we say that every freaking year for the Maple Leafs, but I really feel like last year's loss against Tampa will help them with the experience and put them over the top.
100% agree.
I do really think that. Tony Chi saying, everybody be on their best behavior. That's right. Tony Chi saying, shalom, Phil. Shalom, Phil. How are you, Phil? I was going to block THPN, but I feel like as of the joke wouldn't be taken so well. Oh, yeah. And Jesus, Freak Boys, we got representatives from the THPN, and we're on the subject of hentai. Oh, yeah. Grumpy. That's right. Frank, Phil's your great man. Frank says, Phil's a great man. You got to find I got to find your podcast and join for Sizzle.
Oh, man. Phil's so boring. You can't listen to him long term. It's like, come on. It's Phil.
How does it go, Grumpy?
Phil's facts. Phil's fiction.
Oh, Phil's fiction. And yeah, THPN says, thank you all the support for the show. And THPN, absolutely. Thank you guys as always. And we're going to pull some strings and get Bailey on the podcast. Could you imagine that?
I'd love to have Josh Bailey on this podcast.
Hey, Dylan, if you could get Mike Milbury, find out how we can email him, I would revel in the day that we can get Mike Milbury or somebody like that on the show and say only hard-hitting questions for you, Mike. Mike, sure you're going to have a good time.
Do you regret that Luongo trade now? Do you think it expedited your failure and your departure from the NHL?
Oh, man, it put him in a great role where he was an announcer, or he was an in-between periods guy, Grumpy, and very successful at that. And still, oh, wait a second. He got the old boot. Tony Cheese saying here, can we figure out different nicknames? I think adding Y's and IEs for the names is hack. I was about to say everybody's Barzy, Dobby. The only thing is Wallstrom, or is he Wally? Bellows. Bellows. Yeah.
Belly.
No, I think he's the only one.
Like,
Bellows.
Okay.
Bellows.
The nicknames for the Islanders players are like the way TJ used to name all of his pets.
How so, Grumpy?
Like Hermie the Hermit Crab. or
Okay, I'm going to ask you something. How the fuck do you name a hermit crab? It's just a freaking thing that lies around in a shell and kind of crawls around a bit.
Creeper.
Creeper, the hermit crab. Creeper.
Could have been anything. Doesn't have to be. Or Barry the Build-A-Bear.
I never had a Build-A-Bear. That's your other son you're thinking of.
You're all the same. You're all losers. You could never come up with damn nicknames. Everything just aired a Y to it. Their names. No, it was Buildy, the Build-A-Bear. It was Buildy.
That wasn't mine. That was your other son. That's right.
That was you.
I never had a Build-A-Bear, Grump. I was well past that age when those things became popular. Gungun says the Mets are going to have to win 100 games this year and still not win the division. TJ, still confident of the World Series, Mets versus the Astros. I'm saying the Mets are still making a World Series. I still feel confident. You cannot test my unwavering faith of my New York Mets. They're making it. Matthew S. says, Alvarez, first MLB home run. Look at that, Grumpy. Look at that, man. Look at that.
Could have had Juan Soto. Instead, you got this kid.
How did Juan Soto play since joining?
Great.
Like shit. 240. 240, Grump. Get out of here. Miserable. Tony G saying TJ is wearing a mess with the honk and you get the bonk tank top and the suits are watching. That's right. You mess with the honk, you get the freaking bonk. That's all I got to say. Ariel C says, what do you think Barzal's point total is this season if he plays 82 games?
What do you think, TJ? I'm going to say between
if he's playing alongside Parise and Palmieri. Oh,
I'm going to just say 70. I'm going to say between 65 and 70.
65, man.
I mean, I'm going to say 70. I'm going to go 70. I'm going to go high end. I'm going to say 70.
Oh, I just feel like he's hamstrung with the Y mates he has. It's that simple. It's that simple, man. I think he'll play better this year. It just depends on who's on the line. Do we really think that with a little bit more freedom, do you think that I can maybe see the entire team open? If this is really true, where it's like Barzy's out there, oh man, we needed fresh voices in the locker room. How bad do you think things were in relations with the players and Barry Trotz at the end?
Bad.
How bad?
Anders Lee kind of said the same thing when he was interviewed by Kevin Kurtz. He didn't rip Trotz. Nobody did. But he says, yeah, things are going to be really different under Lane Lambert, like in a positive way.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Tony Cheese saying, I wonder if the THPN offers health insurance because TJ obviously has some prostate or bladder issues. He's got to get checked out. Tony Cheese, first day back over here and throwing the fucking shots over there, Tony. I love it. Good show, boys. Have a good night, TJ. Grumpy and all the fans in the chat. So I appreciate it, Dylan. Thanks for stopping by. John M says, TJ, why do you have a crab? What do you mean? Oh, a hermit crab. As a kid, I had a hermit. Here's the thing. As a kid.
Froggy the Frog. Froggy the Frog.
Okay, as a kid. I'm talking about as a kid. I always wanted like a lizard or something. That's what I always wanted. But the warden and the grumpy old man determined that no. You can't have that. You got to have something that's cheap and low maintenance. So you had to get one of those little hermit crabs, those little cheap hermit crabs.
Fishy the fish.
We got little cheapy pets. That's why we had the hermit crab. That's why we had that hermit crab. I think the minister of finance, the warden, did that.
I don't remember how it transpired, but you had Froggy the Frog, which he killed. Fishy the fish, you had that. I mean, yeah, everything it just had. You just took the name of the animal and just added a Y to it.
Just added a Y to it. Oh fuck, Lizzie the Lizard says Rusty Jedi. Lizzie the Lizard says Return of the Jedi. Rusty Spooner. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. And we got a comment here from D-Cut says Baldy. Thank you. Thanks, D-Cut there, Baldy. And Return of Jedi. Rusty Spooner says, Grumpy old man, you're awesome. TJ, you're almost there. Carte blanche.
It's carte blanche.
Carte blanche.
Did you say carte blanche on purpose? You did.
I didn't do it on purpose.
God.
I forgot how to say it.
Carte blanche.
How often do you think I use the verb in dialect carte blanche every day?
You just got to remember the word, man.
No sleevesies. That's right. That's right. No sleevesies. What a film said. You bring a Paige on so we can ask her to get rid of your muscle shirt, TJ. Paige is working. She's working the night shift. She's working the lovely Paige. So Joseph C says, I think Brady is just cheap and didn't want to be the breadwinner. Giselle isn't even that good looking, and Brady could have any woman he wanted 10 years ago.
He can still pull whoever he wants now. With that bank account, anything, anyone.
Oh, man, I tell you.
Dummy. She has a deep man voice to dummy.
Dummy.
I'm going to divorce you. Not irreconcilable differences. I'm going to get rid of you because you're playing the football. I told you you were going to be retired. You said you're going to spend more time with me and the children. After 42 days, you go back to the football. Oh, no, Tommy.
Tommy boy. Dan L says, it's a very underrated, terrible move by Milbury. So is Milbury's 1999 NHL draft.
Yeah.
That was a miserable draft. Peter A says, why not move Nelson to Barzal's wing? I'd love to see Wally, Barzal, and Nelson line just once in the preseason, see how it pans out.
They're not going to move Nelson from center.
He's played so well at center the last few years under Barry Trotz. I just, even like if he struggles, I just can't imagine him doing anything like that. Brandy Gaines says, it's even worse when you realize that Mike freaking Keenan was Vancouver's acting general manager at the time of the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And depends how they feel about Ratu, seeming if he gets a chance there at the center role. He's not going to, they're not
this year.
No, absolutely not. And TJ, if Pelly can do it, pal. If Pelly can do it, so can you, pal. No, we're not going shaved head. TJ's new nickname, Moldy.
Moldy from eating the moldy cheese.
Oh shit. Moldy. Okay, fair enough. But Grumpy, man, we're here at the end. I know we got a podcast tomorrow. So what do you want to say, Grumpy?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and a grumpy old man.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Emergency Podcast. Matt Barzal signed an 8-year contract, $9.15 million AAV. I'm excited. You're excited. Grumpy's excited. Excitement across the Islanders, the Isles verse. So we got to be excited about it. It's fantastic. If you're new to the show, welcome again. Thanks for sticking around. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. Also, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by. One more comment. Tony Cheese says, come to the dark side, TJ, and shave your head. Not yet. Not yet there, Tony Cheese. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. Stephen Rosner on. We'll be live 8:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So don't be calling TJ time or, hey, I've let the masses know. 8:30 tomorrow. Be there or be square. Thanks so much, everybody, again. And thank you, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure.